So if you have such a tabulation of qualitative data, purely qualitative data, but you have no outcome variable, how do we analyze that? Okay, so that is another type of unsupervised algorithm I want to share with you today. So two things: recommendation engine, go back and review, complete it. Then the second one is correspondence analysis. With that, I close the topics that I promised. 1 second, let me see whether is there anything else is there. So I'm looking at factor analysis, SVD decomposition, eigenvalue decomposition, PCA, recommendation engine, cluster analysis 2, correspondence analysis. I think with that we covered everything. Okay, what we want to cover. Is everybody with me? Did you see my modules in this PA2? Keep that as a guidance. Announcement just now. Today, not just now, today. One is the PA2 video recording 24th and 25th. Okay, you have that link. I did that. I posted it in YouTube, but I looks like I didn't do it. I didn't give you this link. So please, enroll yourself in my YouTube Institute of Analytics or mine. I think in NSM001.org. Okay. Enroll there also, because you don't have to. Sometimes if I miss like this, or in future also. Remember this, you are part of our community. You can always come back and find out what's going on and listen to the latest class lecture. That's okay. All right. So who knows, right? The latest is better than the past. Who knows, right? So it's possible. It might turn out to be to your liking. So you are always there. Just come, be member there. So you get messages. That's the purpose. Okay. So that's another. The other thing I posted today is announcement. Let me see. About 2 assignments I posted. Okay. Do you see that one? Everybody? Review of R codes for SVD and its application for dimensional reduction for images. Okay. Am I making sense in that statement? In this statement, highlighted statement, am I making sense to you? SVD is what? I'm sorry, one moment. SVD is what?
Singular value decomposition.
Everybody very clear about it, right? Singular value decomposition. And correct Durga. Yes, sir. Correct. Nalla strong solano. Okay, thank you. ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்படுத்தினா உங்களெல்லாம் ஆன்சர் சொல்ல சொல்லி கஷ்டப்படுத்தினா கூட பரவாயில்ல, பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணுங்க. ஓகே, தட்ஸ் ஆல் ரைட். All right. Okay, so SVD is singular value decomposition. It decomposes into, so the original data is captured in matrix form, and then that matrix is is expressed as a sum of collection of scaled matrices, right? Sum of collection of scaled matrices. What is the scaling is happening here? Those are the singular values. Singular values are the scaling, the matrices, each matrix. And each matrix is, how is it coming? It's coming from left singular vector to right singular vector. Left singular vector times right singular vector transpose. Right? The matrix. It is same of the type, the spectral decomposition or eigenvalue decomposition. It is same. The only thing is there, it is symmetric. Right to left. It's symmetric and square. So right left. First singular first eigenvector times the transpose of the first eigenvector gives you the first matrix, and it needs to be scaled. And scaled by what? Did you hear my statement?
Eigenvector.
Eigenvalue. Scaled by eigenvalue. Matrix கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது வந்து eigenvector வச்சு கண்டுபிடிக்கிறோம். Okay, but அதை scale பண்றோம்னா multiply பண்றோம் basically. So first eigenvector tells you how much weight you have to give for the first eigenmatrix. Okay, coming from eigenvector. Correct? I'm explaining this summary of mathematical summary in English words like explain. Okay, again. It's very important. Another repeat panna. Actually, previous class la cap panninga repeat pannunga enakku overthinking cap panna. Okay, don't bother you this time. But what I'm saying is, you should be able to say that to others in simple English. Nothing to do with avanga kepa apparama eigenvalue na enna artham. That's a separate issue. Okay, but first you have to say eigenvalue decomposition enna artham. It is decomposing or separating out as independent components of the variance covariance matrix. Correct? Of the variance covariance. That eigenvalue decomposition angadhan solvom. It's a symmetric, real symmetric matrix. Variance covariance matrix is a real symmetric matrix, right? Real numbers symmetric matrix. Adha vandu part நம்ம எழுதி அதை add பண்ணி சொல்றோம். Either left hand side is equal to right hand side. But right hand side it is adding in a very systematic way. Highest explainable dimension is first. Next highest explainable dimension is next, and so on. And the first highest explainable dimension is the first eigenvector times its transpose. So it gets a matrix. But first highest value into the and the eigenvalue that is scaling, multiplying that matrix, the pre-multiplying, like lambda 1 times E1 times E1 prime. E1 prime means transpose. Okay? First. And every part number keep on adding that. That's a way of explaining the eigenvalue decomposition. Can everybody explain that one? Prashant, type I want to see you too. So, sorry. Okay, all right. Okay, fine. No problem. Fine. Whatever is comfortable to you. Okay. So, eigenvalue decomposition. அவங்க கேட்க மாட்டாங்க இன்டர்வியூல இது கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. I'm pretty sure ஏன்னா இது ரொம்ப கொஞ்சம் காம்ப்ளெக்ஸ். I think generally it's considered as complex. Nobody, in fact, data scientists like இதெல்லாம் யாரு data scientists na சும்மா ஏதோ automate பண்ணி ஏதோ average எடுத்து அதெல்லாம் பண்ணிடுறாங்க. It's not like that. It's very sophisticated mathematics behind it. Okay, so eigenvalue decomposition கேட்க மாட்டாங்க, but you can use it to explain a lot of things. Okay, so eigenvalue decomposition again is one more time. It helps us to find out how to explain the variance covariance matrix. Variance covariance matrix. I didn't say variance covariance or variance. I said variance covariance matrix. Apna multi-dimension data. That's right. So big data we are talking about. Eigenvalue decomposition helps us explain the variance covariance in the whole data using the most important dimensions. That's ரொம்ப easy. Sort of. Yeah, this makes sense, right? Using most important dimensions. Right? Dimensions. And it is also called spectral decomposition because different people, high-level sophisticated mathematicians call it different, or engineering people will call it, engineering mathematicians will call it different, and so on. But it's all the same thing. Okay. Now, what is the equivalent statement of SVD? It is talking about the variations in the data.
Separations.
I would only say we are talking about not about really the variance covariance matrix, but the data matrix. In the SVD, we are talking about the data matrix. Are you with me? That is the big difference between eigenvalue decomposition versus SVD. What is the big difference between eigenvalue decomposition versus singular value decomposition? The original thing that we are explaining is very different between these two. The original thing that we are explaining. In the case of singular value, in the case of eigenvalue decomposition, we are explaining the variance covariance matrix. In the case of SVD, we are trying to explain the data. I'm sorry, somebody was saying something. No, data. That's it. Data. You are not talking about variance coefficient. Data. So that's why it can be a rectangular form. It doesn't have to be square form, which is what the variance covariance matrix is, right? Similar. I mean, the variance covariance matrix is, has similar values on the below and above diagonal. That's not the case in the data matrix, right? Data matrix is rows are people, columns are movies. Rows are people, columns are products they buy. Okay? Rows are people, columns are their characteristics. Okay? Things like that, which is a data matrix. Very fundamental difference between these two. Understand? Okay. Now, again, I'm going to repeat. Because this is such a most powerful and such an important thing. I'm saying all these things so that you can carry this to outside the institute. You have to be proud of learning something which is very powerful, very unique, which you don't get it easily. I hope. Okay. So, what is the benefit of singular value decomposition? Can somebody say? Benefit.
Separating out independent variables.
Separating out?
It's an independent variable.
Inga dependent variable. Recommendation engine okay, for example, you can use we can use recommendation engine, you can use SVD. But the point is you are working with data. In both the singular value decomposition and eigenvalue decomposition, you have no dependent variable. That is why it's called supervised unsupervised algorithm. That is why they come under unsupervised algorithm. Are you with me, everybody? Okay. Is singular value decomposition, can it be used for explaining observational data? Explaining observational data. I'm not saying explain the variance. Right? Explaining the variance is PCA, which is eigenvalue decomposition. Yes. Very important difference, right? So, data matrix is, for example, recommendation engine. It's a data matrix. There is no variance covariance matrix. We are not calculating variance covariance matrix. Everybody understands? We are not. We are trying to explain the data matrix in the case of recommendation engine. Everybody gets it? So there is no dependent variable here, Abhi, correct me? There is no dependent variable here. There is no independent, there is no dependent. It's just data we have.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now, what is the benefit? Explain now. What is it? I mean, we have been talking about it again and again, but still, I want to hear it from you. What is the benefit? What is the benefit of PC? Yeah. And when in the interview, if they ask the question, what does it mean? They are coming from a different angle. Okay, what is the benefit of PCA? Same as saying, what is the benefit of eigenvalue decomposition? Right? So, say it in word, in one sentence, somebody.
Analyzing the variance in the data using the significant dimension.
Most important dimensions. Most important dimensions. That's correct. So say that in the same way. Say it for SVD. Same thing. And whatever word anga maatha poringa.
Variance explaining the data.
Explaining the data with the most important dimensions. The same thing. Very simple, right? All those very complicated looking mathematical expressions, very simple in English. That is the way to answer in your interviews. Always, all questions have one sentence. Process and benefits. Every question has a process and a benefit. There is no reason why the formula exists. It's a process, and everybody will answer this question, right? So we can use SVD for and the alternative reducing the dimensions in both the cases, but the input is different. Okay. So we will use this for correspondence analysis also, because it can be huge. It can be a huge data matrix. The correspondence analysis also. Do you get it? In the correspondence analysis, what did you say? Everything is qualitative variables. That means you get data on the frequency formula. Contingency table கூட சொல்லுவாங்க, statistics கொஞ்சம் படிச்சீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு you can recall that. It's also a contingency table. Analysis is a contingency table. Okay, basically analysis is a contingency table. That means qualitative rows and qualitative columns. How many frequencies are there each? So it's a qualitative data. Frequency is not the dependent variable, independent. It's a qualitative data. We are trying to explain the qualitative data. And for explanation purposes, I'm saying it's a small, you can say 10 rows of data column and 10 rows of data, qualitative data, 5 columns of qualitative data, we can say. Just for explain. We are going to see an example. So, and the SVD application can be applied for images also. See, anything in a data matrix I can explain. Are you with me? Just saying simple. Anything in data matrix I can explain. So, if I can convert the images into a data matrix, I can explain. Okay. And if I can convert the voice as a data matrix, I can explain. If I can convert the videos as a data matrix, I can explain. Everywhere it's SVD. Very powerful. Okay. So we will see those things now. With that, let me go and complete the recommendation engine. Okay. That's, I wanted to come back to this. Remember this one, movie recommendation engine. Now we kind of went through the foundational method. Okay, we went through using foundational method. You remember that? I won't see you from now on because I have to explain using my, but you can get my attention if you want to talk. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to close this video from my side. Okay, you'll see me, but I won't see you. All right, so I walked you through fundamentally about the whole process of what's happening in the recommendation engine. Let me take you in the PowerPoint situation. Okay. So this is the, yes. Everything is okay? All right. So we have the movie database. The movie database is a common one, but it can be applied in many ways. Market basket analysis, retail, movie and product recommendation, web page components to serve, chatbot applications, web search engine, all kinds of things. Okay, and the way to do is clustering of correlations or similarities, nearest neighborhood, and SVD. These are most common ways to do. Okay. All right, and we took the movie example as a case study, and here is the movie data. Movie ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Movie IDs refers to basically the row number. Remember that movie ID refers to row number. Title, genre. Okay, and it has many topics. Separated by pipe symbol, so we split this data so that this becomes a 0101 and so on. Okay, whether it exists or not. And then we have the tags. These are some kind of information, useful information possibly, but we don't use tags in this analysis. And then we have ratings, user ID, movie ID. Ratings are 1 to 5. Okay, 4 and 5 is considered good. Sometimes some people will use only good means only 5. Okay, and then timestamp, and then this is the link to other databases, Tomato database and IMDb database. Okay, so that these are the data, but we will use only the movies, their genre, and the ratings to do the analysis. So we create the genre matrix, as a matrix of data. So first movie Toy Story is not considered as an action movie, but it is an adventure, animation, children, and comedy as well as fantasy. Okay. Like that, every movie is recoded into 01. Okay, there are 9,125 movies with 18 genre. Okay, and here is if you count these things, it becomes 18 columns. But some of the movies don't have any ratings, so when we remove that, there are 9,066 movies with ratings provided by 671 users. Yeah. Okay. Now. Then similarly we convert the ratings into some kind of binary ratings. It doesn't have to be binary rating, but that's one way. If I use binary ratings, I will be using Jacquard matrix. Jacquard distance. Everybody understand that? Jacquard distance, there are different distances, right? I'm sorry? கேட்கல ஏதோ சொல்றீங்களா?
A intersection B ஒரு diagram.
Right. Yeah, divided by A union B, exactly. Basically, the count of A intersection B divided by count of A union B. Okay, that's what it is. That's one way. That's one type of distance. I actually gave you a reference about distance matrices. Distances. Did you have anybody have a chance to look at it by any chance? Various distances you can calculate depending upon application. You have to choose the right distances. It takes time to understand that, when to use what. But I have given you a reference. Okay. Anybody had a chance to look at it? No. Yes. Oh, you did look at it. Thanks. Thank you very much. Okay, Abhi and Durga, you looked at it. Okay. But the thing is, think very deeply. Why certain distance people are defining distance now or certain properties it has to satisfy. That's called distance. But then there are so many different ways you can create a distance. And people have mathematicians, statisticians have created distances because different applications they find different things they can use. So that's fine. But other நீங்க எப்படி internalize பண்றீங்கிறதுக்கு it takes time. Don't worry about it. Okay, as long as you are in the community of data scientists and analysts, you will be talking to us, you'll be talking to among yourself, or people whom you know as friends, because you got new friends now coming to the Institute of Analytics. You couldn't talk to them. You can remember, you have to commit to data science. You can't just do this course and say that I put your certificate and then you have done your job. It doesn't work like that. Everybody has to choose a specialization in life. Specialization people are more successful. Generic people are not. Okay, so you are all choosing, to my knowledge, you are choosing data science, if not data scientist, but data science, infused job. Okay, in other words, in your job, you'll start looking at everything as a data science opportunity, and it's huge. Data science has become as the third, not third, the fourth for a good citizenship. Am I making sense to you? Like reading, writing, arithmetic are important for good citizenship. Data science is also important for good citizenship. Am I making sense to you? Citizenship na purida. Oh my. Sorry. Okay. I'll talk slowly. Sometimes I think, because broadband, I don't know, we have two different broadbands in the institute, and I'll find out, I don't know. Is there anybody else in the institute? Please find out who is there for you. Venki is there?
Venki and no.
Yeah, கூப்பிடுங்க கொஞ்சம். வெங்கி கொஞ்சம் முன்னாடி வாங்க. Class broadband should not be used for any surfing by anybody in the institute. அதை அப்படியே பிளாக் பண்ணிடுங்க. ஒன்லி கிளாஸ்னே போடுங்க. அதை பிராட்பேண்ட் ரெண்டு இருக்கு இல்லையா நம்ம கிட்ட, அது ஒன் ஆஃப் தம் யூ அலோகேட்டட் டு கிளாஸ் அண்ட் லாக் இட் அப் ஒன்லி ஃபார் கிளாஸ்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
Nobody can use that. அப்படி வச்சுக்கலாம். ஏன்னா வர மாட்டேன் உங்களுக்கு. Sometimes it I think if somebody else serves video this and that, it can affect our delivery here. Okay, can you please do that? You can do it later. Not if you can do it now, that's fine. If you can do it later, fine. But let's do that way. Okay, thank you. That's all. So I was talking about the importance of data science.
Machine learning illama like இப்போ our predictive மட்டும் வச்சிட்டு can't we find opportunities to work on like applications எல்லாம் இருக்க முடியாதா?
Oh yes. Oh yes, you can do, but with the advent of huge computing power and huge availability of data, we needed new methods to analyze data. Because statisticians are really a breed of mathematicians. They try to, but they are still not so. They are still different from mathematicians because they know the practical issues of handling data. There are uncertainty in the data and so on. They develop their own science. But the point is, they are still very careful, because they care about every single observation. That's how the statistics started. You won't believe, people used to analyze with 5 observations, 6 observations. And they've developed a very sophisticated mathematics to do that. But in the new big data world, and if you are working in those types of problems, you don't need that kind of solutions because we have millions of observations. So there, we needed a special type of analytical methods, and also the unstructured data. That's another thing. Statisticians never worked on that area deeply. Their jobs were, because that's enough things to work. They work on certain types of problem versus the new breed of computer scientists who have to handle unstructured data and huge volume of data. For that, we needed a new types of analytical method. That's where the machine learning comes into play. Where, if possible, we don't want to worry about variable selections. If possible, we don't want to worry about type 2 probability distributions. Very complex. And the probability distribution is so complex. Otherwise, type 2, the type 1 probability distribution, type 2 probability distribution, all those things. They don't have to worry about all those things. So that's where the machine learning comes into play. So your question as to, can I use predictive methods and then solve the problem? Of course. Okay. Now we can also bridge between traditional statistical methods versus the machine learning. That is what we are trying to do. I am not really like a hardcore type 2 distribution, probability distribution based decision analysis. No, I don't go there because there is so much to do, and I'm trying to catch up with the new modern world analytical methods for unstructured data and huge volume of data, big data analytics. So in that area, we have to mix and match between the traditional statistical data mining methods. They're called data mining methods versus machine learning methods. So we kind of mix all these things. Wherever the problem, wherever the opportunity, we try to apply these things. So short answer is, you have a lot of opportunities to solve using predictive methods, what is called predictive methods traditionally. And then you have a lot of opportunities to solve using machine learning. Some of the problems you have to use machine learning only because the way statistician does it, it's not amenable. It's hard. So just move on to machine learning. And recommendation engine is one example. You want a very fast, quick methods, and you don't have much data. At best, what you have is genre, as I said. Okay. So Netflix is, solving such kind of problems. So, and it is extremely powerful. Why? If you don't have a recommendation engine, let's say there are 100,000 movies. Maybe now we're getting there to 200,000 movies. I don't know. Okay, and if you put all around the world, all the movies, millions of movies in all languages. So let's take only English. Let's say 150,000 movies are there. How many movies on an average you would have seen? Tell me. 100 movies on an average. Okay, 100 movies or maybe 200 movies. 99% of movies you haven't seen. You don't even have an opportunity to know about that. And what happens when I give you a recommendation, when I create a recommendation engine and then use that to provide recommendations to you that's relevant to you, and if I'm successful doing that, it opens up what is called the tail distribution, application of tail. The tail distribution 99%, which is not accessible, not used otherwise. The world is poor because it's not exposed to the whole possibilities. Now, I'll give you an example. There was a movie called something called about Everest. Just because it became as a recommended movie for people who are interested in nature and adventure, that movie became very famous only because of recommendation engine. Not only that, Amazon's 30% of products are sold because of recommendation engine. You know, Amazon itself is huge, right? And I don't know how much sales they make. You know, probably $100 billion every quarter, maybe. I don't know, something like that. Okay, maybe every year. Let's keep it every year. We are talking about $30 billion worth of products are sold because of recommendation. Isn't it huge? And it's always true. So recommendation is very powerful. It exposes to things which otherwise normal people will never get a chance to get exposed. So, and that's basically a machine learning. Actually, this is where I'm telling you, I'm kind of trying to get you into a new world, which is both the data mining approach and machine learning approach. But I need some separation because recommendation engine is really a statistician, mathematical way of explaining it rather than pure computer scientist approach. Okay, it is explainable, and it fits into in the unsupervised algorithm. I need to classify, group them so that I kind of package the food for you so that it's easily digestible. Then I find commonality among them and then explain all this. Okay? So recommendation engine is also following SVD, for example. Isn't it cool to see these things, some commonality among them? So recommendation engine can be in the, if you want, you can put it in the machine learning side. Okay. There are some strange things happening. People put regression in machine learning. They call it as regression engine. So we have to be, we have to be aware of all these things so that you have your own way of talking about things. You have your own way of explaining it. You have your own way of articulating. Okay. So from that point of view, recommendation engine can be in the machine learning, but I put it here because I feel it's very well explains about unsupervised methods as part of unsupervised methods. Okay. I took a long time to answer your question. Anything else I can talk? See, these things are very important because this is how it makes you holistic thinking. Otherwise, it just methods doesn't make you a, independent person to think. Methods don't make you an independent person to think. This is the healthy way of comparing, contrasting, articulating, challenging. You have to do all these things. Any other question? Quickly. Okay. Let's go. So we are also using binary. So two things we are using: genre and binary ratings. Okay, that's the most important thing. And I kind of printed them after it is, the ratings are I do what is called reshaping the data. The original data is like this ratings, and then I reshape it into a matrix. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, just say yes.
Sir, break noise not clear, sir.
Still break ஆகுதா?
Connectivity issues.
Okay, now சரி நான் மெல்ல பேச பார்க்கிறேன். So I'm saying we are basically using genre and binary ratings in our model. Okay.
Yes.
And I have to reshape this data. This data is, look at this, it doesn't look like the way I want to handle it, right? This is the user ID, this is the movie ID, this is the rating, and this is the timestamp. Okay. Maybe this is the rating. This is the rating. What is that? No, this is user ID, this is the movie ID, this is the rating, and this is the timestamp. Okay. And I reshape it into a matrix form. You see, this is now 9,066 movies, 672 raters. Okay. So it is now the same thing is reshaped into a matrix form so that I can do all kinds of calculations. What kind of calculations? Similarity measures. Okay. Basically, that's what I do. There are 9,125 movies, but data has only 9,066 movies. Some movies have not been rated. There are 671 users who have provided ratings on 9,066 movies and 18 genres. Now I kind of, compress them into similarity, values. Based on the similarity values, I find out, take the top 30 and, find out their scores, important scores, and then recommend them. Okay, that is the logic that I have been following. Are everybody with me? Okay. Now, I came up to this. Recommended result is this. Recommended results are, the top 10 recommended results are this. And it's coming from the predicted values of the recommender model. Okay, so let me go back to the recommender model is basically using a package called Recommender Lab. Are you able to read this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, very cool. So that package gives me a command called recommender, and then I use the rating matrix, normalized and rating matrix, which means user bias is removed. That's why we normalize it, and then user-based content, user-based collaborative filtering, and then I am using cosine, cosine measure here rather than cosine distance rather than anything else, and then I'm using 30 closest ones to average out my results. And using this model, that is the model object, I use the model object to predict. There's a function called predict in the recommendation engine, recommender lab. I use that model using the predict function and the rating matrix of the first user. Okay, for the first user, I'm predicting, and I get top 10 predicted movies. So Recom refers to list of top 10 predicted movies, and this is what the Recom list is. And I write it as a list. Okay, the Recom is the internal object, and then I convert it into a list, and then I use that list to get the recommendations for the first user, and I can do that for every user. So let me go there. This is the you see this one. I take the Recom results. I take the Recom results, recommended list result as a list, and then find out the movies. Okay, and these are the movies, top 10 movies. The top 10 movies. Let me see right here. So I need top 10 movies. Oh, here it is, genre. So that should give you the confidence how good it is. Are you with me so far? Are you with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I basically printed the top 10 movies which are recommended by the recommendation engine, and genre. Look at this one. It's a documentary. First one is documentary. Second one is adventure, sci-fi, action, comedy, drama, sci-fi, horror, mystery, thriller, musical, comedy, not available, drama, mystery, drama, thriller, adventure, sci-fi. Do you see there is some closeness here? Yes or no? Mostly, 90%. There is something I don't know about this musical. It can be a thriller, or there are some musicals which are thriller. I don't know. Okay. Oh, no. Yeah. This movie is, what is this one? 3, 4, 5, 6 is here. There is no business like show business. Okay, I don't know. That is somewhat. These two are somewhat surprise to me, but most of the other things are all of similar type. Do you agree with me? Similar. Yes. Maybe show all webcams. Do you agree what I was asking?
Yes, sir.
No, except these two, I don't know. But sometimes, you have to go into the movie and find out, more details. Sometimes I have seen, the inner details could be of certain type that fits into it. I don't know. Okay. All right. So that's how you use the recommender lab to predict. Now, don't worry. You are going to come through one more iteration in the lab. Okay, don't worry. So you'll be fine. But we want to evaluate how good it is. So logical or intuitive, but you want some kind of measure how good it is. So
we had 9,666 movies rated by 671 users. Out of all those movies, we have grouped them based on genres, and from that group,
ratings. Genre and ratings. Ratings is genre is 18. Ratings it depends on the individual. Go.
Yeah. So from that, out of 18 genres, the first 10 are we picking, or the combining everything, the first 10 top movies we are picking.
Yes, combining the genre and the ratings of the individual. Okay.
Okay.
Think about it. Combine the genre and the ratings of the individual. We find out similar people and their likings who are closest among the top 30. Okay. We take their ratings and their likings. Other average பண்ணி போட்டா இந்த மாதிரி வருது அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். Only for top 10 movies.
Okay. Finally, combining genres and ratings, we have arrived at movies list fund. It's not like I'm trying to figure out which genres are best.
That is correct. The expression of interest is coming through ratings and genre.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I'm comparing here. Do these genre come together? Similar, look similar. But for some reason, I like this. I might also like comedy. Right, and that's my variations are a little bit wider than many people. I try to see different things. I want to know. I learn about culture. I learn about English. I learn about why people like what. All kinds of these crazy questions. I think about it. So I go and see musical. Oh, this American musical means this way. Indian musical means different. I think those. So for me, this may not be a surprise personally, but in the path, I will surprise. That's all. என்ன கரெக்ட்டுங்களா துர்கா அபி?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Okay, சரி யா சொல்லுங்க
சார். எனக்கு அந்த ஜான்ராவோட ரிலேட் பண்ணும்போது தான் ஒரு பாயிண்ட் கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகுது. என்னன்னா we have 9,066 movies. ஒரு மூவிக்கு we have multiple genres. பட் டோட்டலா நமக்கு பார்த்தோம்னா 18 genres தான் இருக்கு. இப்போ ரேட்டிங் கொடுத்திருக்கிறது எனக்கு மூவிக்கு தான் ரேட்டிங் கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. ஜான்ராக்கு ரேட்டிங் கொடுக்கல.
Correct.
Movie user has given a rating.
Right.
But I'm combining like genres and ratings and the movie list. But is it like I'm trying to arrive at the top preferred movie list or top preferred genres? இல்ல ரெண்டும் ஒண்ணா
the correlations are, top preferred movie naka how do I validate that? Top preferred movie da porom based on the ratings. How do I validate it? It is coming through the inner product, the correlation of the ratings. The hidden inner product dimensions are the genre. In fact, you corrected the typo. You remember that? அங்க எப்படி வருது உங்களுக்கு? ஒவ்வொரு மூவிக்கும் நம்ம we calculate the inner product of the 671 people's likings.
Like what we have done is genre ஓட weightage நம்ம எடுத்துறோம்ங்கற மாதிரி.
Genre is in the inner product in the crosshair of the inner product, genre is there, hidden. It's coming there actually. Hidden சொல்லக்கூடாது. Actually நம்ம actually calculate பண்றோம். But it is coming through the genre. It is explainable, validate. It is getting validated for us. Only through intelligence பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்கா நீங்க only through genre you can explain that. இல்லன்னா எப்படி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றது? இப்போ எனக்கு ஜான்ராவே இல்ல, இதை நான் எப்படி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண முடியும்? இந்த மூவிஸ் ஏன் இதை லைக் பண்றேன்றது, why it is a good movie for me recommendedன்றது, there is no other way. So you need those dimensions that are in the crosshair of the ratings and the movies.
Okay.
I called it as hidden. அதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. Actually, it is the third dimension. So movies, ratings, third dimension is genre. That is compressed in the similarity calculations.
Okay.
And you saw those similarity calculations in that it is coming there.
That I remember.
Yeah. So I bring back and then show you, oh, does it make sense? Does it make sense? See, it is important in data science. In general, it is important, but it's a lot more, I guess. I don't know. It's a lot more needed in data science. In statistics and data science is needed because does it make sense is a very, very important question. I mean, it may be naturally you are inclined to question those things and clarify yourself, but the point is no. In terms of presentation to others, you have to explain those things. Look, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. And on the you have to be there in that situation. Okay. So now the question is, okay, I kind of explained these things, but we all like numerical numbers rather than this way, right? And what are the methods we use? We use what? Accuracy, prediction. When you predict, you want to know accuracy, recall, this kind of stuff, right? Accuracy, recall. What are those things? Precision, F1 measure, ROC curve. You remember all those things we need to do. If we can do it, then we are doing a goodness of fit. It's called goodness of fit. Okay, or goodness of the prediction. Again, I'm using the word prediction here. It's I said it's also machine learning. So the prediction is a more fundamental concept, irrespective of whatever the method you use. More generic. Okay, so we as practitioners, we have the right to use all kinds of words, whatever that helps us. All right. So now the question is, what can we do to show the goodness, of this approach? So that's where there is again in the package we have the evaluation. Okay. You see this one, evaluation scheme, rating matrix, method, cross validation. And there are some things you have to input as parameters. K is equal to 5. This is number of folds. Number of folds means how many divisions you are going to make. And then given 3. See, you have, in order to predict and check the accuracy, you need to set aside samples which you don't use. Okay. So what we are saying, we use all 10 movies other than 3. We will keep 3 as if we don't know them. Okay, as if we don't know them. And then good rating means 5. Using this, we predict and then evaluate using 1 movie, 3 movies, 5 movies, 10 movies. Okay, using that, we create a confusion matrix, which means confusion matrix refers to the true positive, false negative, true negative, precision, all these things I can calculate. Everybody is with me? Unless you agree to this statement, I can go. Solomon. Oh, sorry. Solomon.
Then you get 1.5 times everything we are connected, right? And is that the list of top movies that have to be considered?
Right. Only 1 movie I recommend பண்றேன் இல்ல 3 movies recommend பண்றேன் 5 movies recommend. How many movies? Yes.
Like the top list, how many movies that has to be considered is What is that one then?
This
Given
is
equal.
this is 1, 3, 5. In the mari, so for example, true positive, whatever move panana, 14% of the times I'm accurate. Okay. When one percentage about if moon percentage upon divide on right? So that is what true positive is. Is like that, I have a TPR. In fact, it is better to use TPR and FPR. That is better. Okay, rather than because there is some confusions are going to be there because about these things are bigger numbers, right? You might think that it's a bigger number. Okay, that's why so many times I repeat. 4 times I repeat, 5 times, right? I have a k is equal to 5-fold validation. Cross validation means I think I explained it to you. Any sample you split it into 5 times, not 20%, 20%, 20%, 20% split something. Yeah. Okay, and the 5-fold we are going to use different recommendations levels. 1 movie, 3 movie, 5 movie, 10 movie, and so on. Top 10, top 1, top 5, 3, and so on. And then we calculate this TPR, all those things, true positive rate, false positive rates, because that's what is needed usually in the ROC curve. Only 2 things here: true positive rate, false positive rate. And I want to go to this example to explain more. 1 second. With involved calculations, it may require more thoughts and time. But I just want to tell you that here it is. So we can do the model. In fact, I have given you this as a reference. Okay, review this and solve. You can, in this case, he is using what is called a joke database. Okay, 5,000 jokes database. But the point is there are different methods you can use. Random method is the one that you usually use to compare with, because random means no intelligence is used. And then there is something called popular. It's a population wise. Some movies are popular. Okay, so it's nothing to do with the individual. It's a popular, and then user based, and then item based, and then SVD. You see, I brought in here SVD. Okay, in the discussion. When we do that, the way to compare all these things is to use this, true positive rate and false positive rate. That's all in the end matters. That is what your ROC curve is. Take a look at this ROC curve. So far, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, we have come up to the ROC curve now. So far, okay. That's all you need. It doesn't really matter because there are too many things are there. If you concentrate on every little things, you are going to be confused. Come down to ROC curve and then start your controlling your problem solutions. Okay. So in this case, here is the question. To look at this very carefully. So what we are saying, what is always good is the one that raises very fast and then ends like this, isn't it? You know that. For a small false positive rate, very high true positive rate is achieved. For a small false positive rate, high true positive rate is achieved. That is what is considered as a good method. Agreed? Everybody agreed? For a small false positive rate, a high true positive rate should be achieved. False positive rate you are going there to fish tuna. You know what is tuna? I know it only after coming here in this country. A particular type of fish. It can become 2-3 feet to 2 feet long. Okay, 2-3 feet. But when you catch you are putting the net for catching tuna. But you might end up, because the net is such a type, you might getting a dolphin in that. Right? That is not what is meant by what you are meant to do, but that is falsely caught. Right? As tuna. But you want to reduce that to the minimum possible and then tuna as the highest possible. That is the good method, good net. Correct? Kekliya. Kekda. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to explain one more time what is false positive rate, what's true positive rate. And those are the only two things matter in the end, mostly speaking. Anybody can always question every little thing. We don't want to go there. We are practice scientists. Okay, so come to the false positive rate, true positive rate, drop and graph it, and then you can say that, oh, this method is good, that method is good. And there are 5 methods. And how to determine which one is good? That is the question we are trying to answer. And I'm saying a good method is one which has the lowest false positive rate but highest true positive rate. Everybody is clear on that. என்ன சத்தியம் கரெக்ட்டுங்களா? ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ரொம்ப இதெல்லாம் பிராக்டிஸ் இஷ்யூ. இதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சிருந்தா போதும். நீ ரொம்ப எல்லாம் மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸ் எல்லாம் என்ன ஒன்றும் அவசியம் இல்லை. ஓகே, ஸோ இங்க பாக்குறேன் நான் இதான் இது டிரா பண்ணலாம். இது வந்து this is given you for you to review this particular paper. This is a lab document, recommended lab document. It is, I want you to go through அவன் அழகா கோட்ஸ் எல்லாம் திருப்பி கொடுத்துருக்கான், but for a different example, and I want you to go through that. Okay, and I'm explaining specifically about this rock cut because it's a practice issue. You need this. I'm saying, look at this one. இதுல வந்து, can you tell me what is the lowest?
Item based.
Item based is lowest, correct. What is the next one? This is very strange, isn't it? Item based is lowest. But anyway, random is, I would imagine random is the lowest. Okay, but anyway, it's a surprise to me. But the surprise could be for various reasons. Let's not, get hung up on some surprises here and there. Remember, it's a practice issue. And the next one is random item is the lowest. Random item is the lowest, right? Okay. That's I expected. It should have been the year, but anyway, that's fine. I still don't know why item based is the lowest here. Okay, highest is
Popular items.
User based is
user based and popularized. User based is you expect user based. You might also expect SVD based because SVD is so sophisticated, right? You might expect that, but anyway, user based. And very interesting, popular. I think that you can feel that way, right? User-based, population-based. Popular means population-based, right? They should go kind of together, but user-based should be better than that, okay? And that's what you see, little better. User-based, little better, okay, not much. Now, surprising thing is, SVD is so sophisticated mathematically. Why is that it's in the middle? It might be a concern. Right? Not a concern, maybe it's a question, good question. So there is another measure, what is called mean predictive error, right? What is called? Let me see. Yeah, root mean square estimate, mean square estimate, mean absolute error. Okay, mean absolute error. All these things are a different type of errors in the prediction. So rock is about accuracy and the how many of them are falsely predicted, how many of them are truly predicted, and the angle of it. You look at this one, very interesting. Random item has the highest. Now that is somewhere you are basically coming to a better understanding. Prediction better போல இருந்தது. இங்க now errors are telling you something, some new information. Interestingly also, the last one is the SVD. In terms of errors in the data, taking data as a matrix and then predicting, wherever the question marks are there, predicting that and finding the error seems to be the lowest. Well, I've come very close to this one, or maybe this one, but in terms of MSc, it is this one. Third one, what is this? User-based. That I kind of buy into it. Logical and intuitive. Do you feel that way too? That there is some extra additional information in this one that complements the other ROC information, and okay, reasonably articulatable. கன்ஃபியூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கனா, ஏதோ அங்க இருக்குது விஷயம் அப்படின்னு புரிய வச்சிருக்கனா? கேள்வி கேட்கலையா? புரியலையா? திங்க் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்றீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறோம். சார் மூணாவது ஆன்சர் இருக்குது. ஒன்னு வந்து கன்ஃபியூஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன் இல்லையா? ஏதோ இருக்குது. மூணாவது திங்க் பண்ணணும். That's also fine. The point is, we are trying to train you in a short time, the depths of practice. And these are all the things. So you will have to review as an example, this particular gesture database example, he actually runs through all these commands. One more time you go through this, because we went through the movie database, right? This is about gesture database, gesture 5000K. And he kind of, he goes through all the things that I talked about. I didn't plot, but I know for the plot I came here, okay? I could have done plot also, but I stopped with the evaluations, okay? I stopped with the evaluation up to this. But if you look at all these additional things, you will be able to evaluate which recommendation engine is better for you, and then use that recommendation engine. And I want to tell you one more thing here. Even though it looks like this is in the middle, in terms of the predictive errors as MS, RMSE, all those things, SVD is very good, reasonably good. So in complementing this information with that, all the three you can use actually. That's my conclusion. If you want to give also the RMSE, sometimes the competition they give you this as a RMSE or MAE as a way of measuring it, not TPI, the rocker, area under the rocker. So in those situations, you will win if you use the SVD or some small variation of SVD. Take a break. We will multidimensional, the correspondence analysis. There's a lot of little details are here. I understand. As it's a practice issue. Practice பண்ணீங்கன்னா வந்துரும். It takes time. I want to be honest. Don't get frustrated. That's all I can tell you. Okay. 10 minutes break. Is that okay? All right. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. I'm sorry.
2 minutes.
Oh, you want 2 minutes? Okay, I won't bother. Oh, pizza! Oh my goodness! Good, good, good. Enjoy, enjoy. I'll give you 3 minutes so that you can eat peacefully. All right. Did you all have enough time? Good. Welcome. Okay. So I already set up my purpose in the next session is about qualitative data. If the data are completely qualitative, how can we analyze? That's the question. Okay. And what's the method, and how do we, what is the package we can use? Those kinds of questions. So let's go to this example. One minute, okay?
நான் சொல்ல கேள்வி
அக்கா பெஸ்ட்
நீங்க
ஆப்பிள் வாங்கிடு.
அதான் ஆப்பிள் சொல்ல வந்தேன்.
ஆப்பிள் வாங்கிடு.
I want to talk to you about this. Okay, correspondence analysis. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have I updated this slide with this reference. Okay, this is the PA2 notes. This is the reason I'm saying don't download this one. Okay, because whenever you want, you can just go there and read it. I don't know how else you can read other than I don't know, but you know there will always be some new notes or clarifications there. You know, so it was missing. I had this before; it was missing, so I don't know. I put it again. Okay, here is that link. Are you able to see my link here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So one way of saying about principal component, the correspondence analysis is that it's a principal component analysis among qualitative variables. That is another way of saying it. Does it make sense? Because in the case of PCA, it's about dimensional reduction for continuous variables. But here, you can say it's a dimensional reduction for qualitative variables. Okay, so explain the data matrix. Again, I want to tell you here, this note says it is a principal component. I would rather say singular value decomposition analysis of data, qualitative data, not the way this guy is saying. Okay, so here is the reason why you have to be thinking on your own in terms of explaining things. Okay. But principal access is fine. Principal access is fine, but by definition, principal component analysis always means explaining the covariance matrix with the most important dimensions. So here we are talking about how to explain the data matrix with the least set of dimensions. That's what we want to do. Like what we did in the case of the recommendation data set. Recommendation data set. Okay. All right. So let's consider this example. You see this data. These are the home activities: laundry, main meal preparation, dinner preparation, breakfast, tidying the house, doing dishes, shopping, official work, whatever that means, official, driving, finances, insurance management, finance and insurance, taking care of repairs, and then holidays, activities. Okay, and this is wife. In a collection of sample survey, we find the wife does so many times frequency. These are the frequencies for this row qualitative categories and column qualitative categories. What are the column qualitative categories? Wife does it alone, and wife and husband alternate the work. Husband does it alone, which means husband does these things 2 times alone. Okay, alternating 14 times in both. Wife does 156 times, and jointly they do together at the same time 4 times. So most of the work, laundry work, is done by wife. That's what this means, right? Almost, 2/3, more than 2/3, 3/3, and 3/4 maybe. Okay, more than 3/4. On the other hand, preparing meals, main meal is done by wife again. But if you look around, breakfast is done, almost kind of husband contributes to it, that's fine. But if you look at dishes, very interesting, dishes jointly do and mostly wife, but still, there is a lot of joint work is done. And then official work, if you look at it, for the first time, wife is, reduced to alone, participation is, lonely participation is reduced completely significant. And here you can see this is the rate at which, this is the frequency at which they do, either alternating, husband alone and jointly. And then if you look at repairs, wife doesn't do any repairs, the man does, the husband does it. Insurance related work is done mostly, driving is done mostly, and finances are done mostly. And then when it comes to holidays, they jointly enjoy that time together. That's what this means. Okay. The question is, maybe there is a smaller set of dimensions here. We don't need this many dimensions to explain, in terms of activities here. Okay, is the problem clear? In other words, is there a smaller set of dimensions that will explain this data? That's a question we want to answer. Is the question clear?
Yes.
Everybody? Very simple example. Okay, but using this, you can also do huge big data tables. Now, just graphically, you can plot it like this, just using the balloon plot. You can see that now visually, it's very clear where the most of the activities are. Here the most of the activities are husbands. Here the most of the activities are wife. In the middle, most of the activities are joint. Okay, that's what we see visually. So let's do the principal dimension analysis. We will call it as that way, principal dimension analysis. Okay, because principal component is traditionally known for the explaining the variance covariance matrix. So there's a top. There is a package factominer, and we can use factominers to do the correspondence analysis. Okay, and this is the way we have to call it. This is the data matrix. How many principal axes we need to keep? Okay, principal dimensions, and whether we want graph or not. So if I call in, I don't have to do even principal component dimensions. No, that's only optional. So when I call in, I get these results. Library, factominer, results, correspondence analysis, house task. That data set is called house task. Okay, graph is false. And we want to print, output the kinds of results that we are getting. Print results.ca, it prints all these things. Okay, let's understand these terminologies first. Eigenvalue is eigenvalue, but he calls it as eigenvalue. It's really the singular values, because you remember that it's a singular value. Do you agree with me? He calls it as eigenvalue. Don't worry about it. And then results of the columns, coordinates for the columns, cosine distance for the columns. See that we need to have these results for columns versus rows. Do you agree with me? That's why it is a singular value decomposition analysis. See your face. Everybody? You understand my terminologies? Because it's single value decomposition, there is a column decomposition and then the row decomposition and then column decomposition. Right? That is different from decomposing a real symmetric matrix. Okay, which turns out to be in our case is the variance covariance matrix. So that's why the results will be in terms of the columns as well as in terms of the rows. If you look at it now, results for the rows, results for the columns, coordinates for the rows, coordinates for the columns, cosine distance for the rows, cosine distance for the columns, contributions of the rows, contributions of the columns. Okay, so you know with that should give itself that should give you the information that it is separation is happening in terms of row effect versus column effect, which will happen only in singular value decomposition, not in principal component analysis. Okay. ரொம்ப எங்கேயோ பறக்குதா, எங்கேயோ போயிட்டு இருக்கேன் நான் பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். Are you the sisters? ஓரளவுக்கு ஒரு புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஏன்னா again this repetition தான் இது வந்து it will retain in your mind. Okay, you can retain that only by repeating it, checking it out, doing some examples, assignments, and actual practical work and so on. Okay, don't worry about it. But there is a pattern here. That's what I'm trying to impress on you. There's a pattern here. There's a singular value decomposition, eigenvalue decomposition, reducing the dimensions, selecting the most important dimensions. These are all, there is common things going on. If you can keep on internalizing that for every problem you do, then you will know, you'll be fine. But it takes time. Repetition, practice matters. So he calls it as get eigenvalues, really the singular values. But anyway, so shall we do this as an example, and then basically rest of them are codes. Now you know the logic. You basically, rest of them are codes. You can find out the answers by going through these codes. I'm going to go through the codes. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
One moment. So let me first, I already fired up the R. This is a very good, nice example. I like it, so I share with my student. So I need to install, I have already installed this package, so facto minor and facto extra. I need 2 of them. Let me see whether I have them. If I have them, I'm going to call in library. Facto minor and facto extra. Do you see this one? I need both of them. Okay, so I called in. Now facto minors, I called in the library also. So those packages have this house task data. Okay, so I can just call in because I already loaded it. Okay, so if I call house task, you can see the data. This is what we were talking about. Do you recall now? Okay. I'm sorry. என்ன சொல்றீங்க sisters?
இல்ல சார், எதுவும் சொல்ல சார்.
எதுவும் சொல்லியா? I thought you were saying something. Fine. So I got the data. This is what, did you see this one? This is what I called in right now. This one. Everything is same. Let's do the plotting, little bit of plotting. I convert this house task data into a matrix format so that I can use it into balloon plot. Okay. You see this one, zoom it, and this is what we got. Okay. Now, there is one test that is known in contingency table. I told you this is also called contingency table. Did anybody recognize that terminology? Contingency table. Statistics.
No, sir.
No. You didn't do statistics before? Yeah. Okay. So we didn't. The contingency table we didn't teach you also in Blossom.
No, sir.
Okay, we didn't have time, I guess. Okay. Basically, it is qualitative data analysis. Is the simple question there is there relationship between rows and columns? Okay, that is the question we answer in contingency table. Is there a relationship between rows and columns? The rows and columns are qualitative groupings. Is there association? We don't say relation, but usually is there association between rows and columns? So that is done by what is called Pearson chi-square test. Okay, we will do that Pearson chi-square test. And that will tell us, the p-value will tell us that there is some relationship between rows and columns. Okay, so let's do that. Do you see what I'm saying? The p-value is very small, isn't it? Do you see this highlighted value? Very small. So what it means is, when the p-value is very small, that means we reject the null hypothesis. Do you agree with me? Do you recall such statements I made in the past? We reject the null hypothesis. Correcting our sisters, Nabi, Durga.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what it means is, what is the null hypothesis here? No association. And we are saying reject that. That means there is something going on here. There is some association. Okay. Statistically, there is some association. Okay, good. Now, association required, but அதில முக்கியமான dimensions மட்டும் எடுக்க முடியுமா is the next question. I mean, that's all in the end, really what we are trying to do. அது நீங்க இங்க பண்ணிட்டு தான் வரணும் கூட அவசியம் இல்லை, but I'm just doing it. That is, we want to check initially the association, and then we want to do the next thing, that is, do the analysis, okay, of the correspondence analysis gives you, remember, what is the correspondence analysis gives you? Can you say it in one sentence?
Analyzing the most important dimensions between qualitatively.
Among qualitative variables, because it could be more than two variables, no two-dimensional table. It could be 10-dimensional table, okay, among qualitative variables. Good. So, let's run that, and of course it runs very fast. And trend res.ca. These are the possibilities. So row variable has 13 categories. A column variable has 4 categories. Because it is qualitative, we call them as categories. Okay. But it can be ordered categories also. In this case, it's not ordered. It's just 2 categories. Now, in fact, I don't have to even do separately Pearson chi-square. It automatically, as part of the analysis, it also does independence testing. That is there association among the rows and columns or among different dimensions? It will give it to us as part of the analysis. So I need not have done Pearson chi-square test, which I did. Okay, agreed?
P-value 0.
Yeah, very close to 0. I know the 2 power, what is that value? It is 2.2 to the power e power minus 16, which is what close to 0 means, right? It is 0, yes. If you have 10 digits, it's 0. If you have 20 digits, it's not 0. It's 0.00000 2.2. I mean 2. Not 2. So he calls it as eigenvalue, but what will we call? Singular value. Okay, but anyway, let's just because he has written the package that way, let's just use his terminologies and we are fine. Okay. So, just remember, in a singular value decomposition, how many dimensions you will have? Minimum of, minimum of something. Huh?
Minimum 3.
No. The number correct is abstract full matrix, data matrix is m by n. Minimum of m comma n, m or n, minimum m. But in you have explained all the variants. I mean all the, sorry, not variants, all the data points. So it should be 4, isn't it? 4 by, what is this? This is 4 by 18. 4 by 13 or 13 by 4, right? This is 13 by 4. So you should get 4, Leo. We are getting only 3. Can somebody tell me why? Can you guess why?
Maybe the one which has been ignored is explained by the other three combined.
Exactly. The total is fixed, right? So you just need only 3 independent columns to determine the 4th column. Okay. Now, if you look at this one, first dimension, singular value explains 48%. Second dimension, together explain 88%. Okay. So, literally speaking, 2 dimension should be good enough. That's what we are saying. Even though there are 4 columns, are there only 2 dimension matters here. Does that make sense? Literally speaking. Where the other one is 11%, or almost 90% is explained by the other 2 dimensions. But what those 2 dimensions, is an interpretation we have to give. Remember, it's a, it's a kind of rotated data in some sense, right? Remember that? It's in a rotated space, new space we are talking. So we have to give interpretation for that axis. That axis is not exactly these axes. Wife is one axis, alternating is another axis, the husband is another, and joint is another axis. Of course, out of that, only 3 are independent axes. So let's do this. So one way to do this is plot this, what is called the biplot, okay, which is basically the most 2 important dimensions. Only 2 dimensions, most important 2 dimensions is called biplot. Okay, in this case, it so happens because it's a small example, only 2 dimensions matters. Anyway, we found that, right? 3rd dimension doesn't matter. So let's plot that one. So what we are saying is, okay. So what we are saying here is, take a look at this one. The beauty of data mining, statistical analysis is that they are interpretable beautifully. Okay, sometimes very interesting. Do you see that the husband category where he matters most is in this quadrant in terms of activities, and do you see wife is separated out in this husband, on the other side is wife separated out here? Isn't it beautiful? I think it's beautiful. What is that? I'm sorry.
Jointly is presented in the middle.
Yeah, jointly presented is here in the bottom. Okay, and these are all there is more variance here because they are not very systematically separated out. If you look at this one, these are all extremely separated out, completely explaining wife, and this one extremely separates out explaining husband here. And interestingly, even though there are 4 quadrants, we really need 3 because 3 independent columns. So here, this axis separates out. This axis separates out very clearly. This one dimension separates out very clearly between husband and wife. This dimension separates out husband and wife's individually versus jointly. Okay, that's what this is happening here. I thought this is cool, how nicely it comes out as a simple plot in 2 dimensions. So all these things are done by singular value decomposition for us. Okay, so that's that's another thing I want to share with you. So if you want to explain things by rows versus column, you want to explain the rows, then you are going to use the results for rows. The results for rows will help us to explain the data from the point of view of rows. Explain the data. And if you ask for results for columns, that will help you explain results for the columns. Okay. So let's just do a little bit of work here. So what we do here is let's take the closure and row coordinate isn't or okay, what's going on? Maybe I didn't do something. Oh, I need to do this. Graph variables. Okay. So you remember These are row related vectors. Singular value decomposition has what? Row vector, column vector. You do the row vector times column vector transpose. You see the singular matrix, component matrix. And then you scale them with the singular values. Get it? Correct? Okay, excellent. Abhi, correct? Like singular, I repeated in the beginning. What is meant by singular value decomposition? You take a data matrix, decompose. That means, separate out completely different components which you can add to get this one. And when you separate out, two things you are doing. Two important things you are doing. Your mathematics is helping you. What is that? Each of the matrices is scaled by something. That tells you how important that particular dimension. A singular vector or eigenvector is a dimension, right? In the usual case, x1 is a dimension, x2 is another dimension, x3 is another dimension, right? So x1, x2, x1, x2, x3 together defines a dimension. When it is equal to 1, 0, 0, it is the first dimension. When it is 0, 1, 0, it is the second dimension. When it is 0, 0, 1, it is the third dimension, right? So we are, in the singular value decomposition, we are decomposing. That means separating out independent parts, separating it out in such a way that each of the direction is scaled by a certain quantity. That is called the singular values or eigenvalues. And you sum them, you get this left-hand side, which is the original data, right? Now, this row dimensions refers to you remember in the singular value decomposition, UDV, remember ka? UDV input connection, I can show you that document. Correct? You see this one? For a sample data, I showed you U, right? So SVD of M1 is S1. S1 has these components. And the U is about the rows, V is about the columns, and the U is this one. One moment. See, and the U is because it is 13 by 4, right? The data matrix is 13 by 4. 13 by 4. Why is that it is giving only this many? It should have more. Oh, because I'm sorry. What is that you were saying? I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
We have used head. We haven't rendered the complete set.
Oh, okay. Yes, exactly. Otherwise, an array yeah. That's what I was expecting. So can somebody tell me how many rows it should be giving? See, it is giving a certain number of rows of these vector values, right? Right? How many you think it should come? Can somebody answer? All of the rows data should be coming here, right? That's why it's called row contribution. Carefully listen to me. There are 3 dimensions mentioned here, 3 vectors mentioned here. Each vector is this size. And this tells you this. If I take this vector and they put a column over here, let's do the column. How about column? Rows, column. I think it's column. Oh, not that is not the name. Let me check it out. Maybe I didn't recall it yet. That may be the issue. Because I only asked for rows. Remember this row, get CA row. I should say get CA column. I can show you that. Rows cosine 2 still is working on rows. Okay. He didn't do the column. Doesn't matter. I want to go to the column and then come back here. Okay, here it is. Okay. The one I did the by plot is this one, where I mixed remember that, I mixed both the graphics. One is the type of activities, the other one is, who is joined, the column, type of activities versus responsibilities. I don't want to say the sharing approach. Okay, type of activities versus sharing approach. I'm putting both. That's why it's called by plot. Okay, I'm taking the row information, most important dimensions, and I'm putting it in a visual form versus the column information, which is who is shared, the responsibility type. Okay, so that's why it's called a by plot. So if I do only one in only the column alone, row alone, let's go back to the row alone, and I will get only this. Now, there is no the column information plotted here. The column information is plotted in red color as part of the by plot, which means it gives you the most important dimension on the rows, most important dimension on the column. Okay, so I do just for the using the row data, and I'm plotting only the dimensions, 2 dimensions of the row. First two dimensions of the row reduction. Note down this. First 2 dimensions of the row reduction. Row reduction means the type of activities. In the same way, I can do first 2 dimensions of the column reduction. Okay, that will give me the responsibility type. So far, so good. Are mix information? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Kind of, right? I'm getting there. Okay, just be with me. I'm saying first of all, first conclusion is that I can take this data matrix and reduce the dimensions. Everybody buys that using singular value decomposition. Okay, everybody buys that. Now, I do the singular value decomposition and start working with the row data alone. Row reduction only. Row, the dimension reduction on the row side only. I'm going to work first. Okay, that's what this is all about. Are you with me? That's okay, right? Up to this is fine. And I plot that. When I plot just the row dimensions only we are talking about, that means I have to take the first 2 dimensions of this, right? Only these 2 dimensions matter. When I do that, if the separation is happening here, in terms of type of activities only. Now I will overlay that, the column reduction also later on. Okay, column reduction will come. Now let's continue to work on the continue to understand what is this, cosine distances are here. I'm still talking about the cosine distances. Cosine distances on the row data alone. Again, I'm talking about only cosine distances on the row data alone. Okay, I can do the same thing for the column data, column approach only. I don't do anything about the row, because remember, all these things are happening because I have row singular value, most important row singular vector and column singular vector. And when I cross that, when I do the product, row singular, first most important row singular vector and most important column singular vector, I get the most important singular matrix, first singular matrix, and I scale that to get to find out how close that is to the original data. I add like that the second dimension, I add third dimension, and then keep adding all those things and see how closely I'm coming. The least number of dimensions I need tells me how many dimensions I need, because sometimes 88%, 90%, 75%, that's all what I need, and that is explained by 2 or 3 dimensions. That's good enough. Okay, now I do all those things. So here, this is the if I use the cosine distance matrix I used when calculate dimension 1 versus dimension 2. Okay, and you see these things. This is contributed only because of the same thing. You can see the same thing is coming here. It's coming through either the cosine distances or the singular vectors. Row singular vectors versus column singular. In this case, row singular vectors. Now, and these are all okay. Fine. This tells you basically by row activity the correlations. Same as cosine. Remember, cosine distance is same as Pearson correlation. I don't know whether I made that point or not. When I explained at one point, I mentioned that cosine distance is similar, close to. There is small difference is there, but otherwise it's the same as Pearson correlation. You remember that? When cosine is equal to 1, that means it is the same observation, right? It is cosine, that means the angle is 0, right? Cosine 0 is equal to 1, which means that two vectors are same, which means Pearson correlation is also 1. Okay. So I can do the get column also in the same way. Remember, like row, I got the row values, I explained the row dimensions, I explained the the row correlations. I can do the same thing, using column data also, right? Column approach, which is coming from the column singular vectors. So I do this one, get CA column. There's a command in that package which gives me the column. So if I do the column dollar coordinates, tells me the weights of those dimensions. Okay, the weights of those dimensions that defines the column singular vectors. Okay, so if I plot this, then I get the explanation of the activities by the column factors. Like when I plot the blue ones are coming from the explanation of the vectors by the row singular vectors. The red ones are explanation of the activities, explanation of the type of activities by the column in red color. That's what we are talking about here. See, I'm saying, this is a biplot, which means we are bringing both the row side and column side. But if I plot this one, I'll get the red points here. That's what we are saying, just the red points alone. So let's do that, and you see that's exactly what's going on here in terms of the plot. And I was saying, remember this now. What have I done? Initially, I showed you both things together. That is row explaining dimensions versus the column explaining dimensions in one plot called biplot. And then I showed you that we separate out row information, we separate out column information, and by bringing them together through the biplot, you are getting back to that. And this is the column explanation only. Okay, you can see that column explanation clearly separates out the husband and wife, and then in this dimension separates out the alternating versus joint activities. So when I put together, then I get the original one, what we got initially, that is this one. The blue ones are about the separation of row activities, activity types. Red ones are, responsibility type. Okay, and in one shot, we are able to explain both the row type dimension reduction and the column type dimension reduction. That's basically it about how do you, what are the questions I answered here? If you have completely qualitative data, how do we reduce the dimensions? Because remember, dimension reduction is our fundamental problem in big data. And there are two types of dimension reduction. One is explaining the variance, the other one is explaining the data. And in this case, we talked about explaining purely qualitative data. And in the case of recommendation engine, we explained purely continuous data actually. If you remember, right? Your scoring 1 to 5 is continuous data, right? But here we are talking about the frequency of qualitative data. Okay. And there's a lot of other things he is talking about in that reference. That's fine. But if you can understand this and try starting explaining all the other things, it's you have come to the purpose. Now, again, the confusion could be, row data, column. What is that? Because the singular value decomposition comes from row singular vector and column singular vector. And that's exactly what is going on here. And whatever the author said, I like the example, but he's using eigenvalue. That's not right. It's not called eigenvalues. Okay, it's our way, my way of interpreting it to you. But the point is, whether it's the continuous data or qualitative data, however many dimensions you have, you can reduce them in small dimensions. That explains the data. And here is a example for qualitative data, and what you saw before was called quantitative data. Questions? There must be some question. Ask, something must be bothering you, but unless nothing, that is a good statement. But I want you to think one important thing here. And we are specifically talking about row dimensions versus column dimensions and why. I explained it to you, but I'm saying you have to roll that idea in your mind. Because it's a data matrix. And because it's a data matrix, I have row singular vectors versus column singular vectors. Okay, that's the reason why. And biplot is another thing. That is a great interview question. People might ask, what is a biplot? Yes, biplot. Okay, what is a biplot? And here we use the biplot. You remember, this is a biplot. Do you see this one? It is written as biplot, right? The red and blue same. That is the biplot. It's not a biplot if you use first two dimensions of the rows singular vector or first two dimensions of the column singular vector. That is not called a biplot. You take the first most important dimension of the row dimension and first most important dimension of the column singular vector. That is called the biplot. And you can see that by combining these two, we got the answer here beautifully. That explains, separates out in both the row dimension and in the column dimensions.
So, in the correspondent analysis, does it mean we'll have different ways of reducing the dimensions, like separately for rows and separately for columns? Interpret if a PCA dimension.
That is correct. You are actually, doing that. We are doing that. That's what we are doing here. Because you have row vector. Anga row vector, column vector, one vector. Inga row vector, column vectors, singular vectors. So you take first column, first row singular vector, first column singular vector. Other than you first singular matrix row. Other than scale first dimension resolved. Then you take the second singular row vector and second singular column vector. Other use create a matrix of second singular matrix. Others correct second singular value scale second dimension is covered.
But eigenvalue decomposition பண்ணும்போது இதே மாதிரி தானே. But அதுல என்னன்னா data symmetrically வரும். Symmetric matrixங்கறதனால இந்த அங்க column மட்டும் consider பண்றோம், rows consider பண்றோம்.
That is correct. It is symmetric matrix and the difference கிடையாது. You are right. That is the issue. But the thing is also it is a square matrix. Okay. Because of that, I don't say and the interpretation there is we are looking for the first important dimension in terms of explaining the variance. Because it turned out to be a variance covariance matrix. Right? Because it turned out to be a variance covariance matrix, I am saying the first dimension explains the variance covariance matrix. Explains the variance covariance. I have to say variance covariance because it's not one dimension. The second dimension explains the second most important variance covariance amount.
Okay.
But here it's the data. So by the nature of the definition of the matrix, I'm saying it explains the data. But in the process of explaining, we are talking about row dimensions because rows have a different type of information, which is about the people. In this case, it's activities. Columns have a different type of information, which is in this case responsibility. So we have to carefully explain all those things in terms of row vector versus column vector. In other words, if I don't have any, imagine that the column is completely suppressed. I have only row information. It doesn't make sense, but I'm just saying that is what you are working with the row information. Row dimension 1, row dimension 2, and so on. Okay. Very good. Actually, I am very pleased to view these views, understanding about all these things. This is pretty. I don't know. I don't get to hear very easily from my own teacher. So I have to struggle through these things. Sometimes now when I explain it to others, I get some new ideas of expressing it. So it's great to know that there is a simplicity behind this very complex world, and these are the simplicities. Okay. Any other question? The biplot to biplot, there will be I think it's a good intro question, my opinion. Okay, biplot, box plot, biplot கொஞ்சம் advanced. Box plotல நிறைய பேருக்கு தகராறு வரும். ஏன்னா ஞாபகம் இருக்காது. படிச்சுட்டு மறந்துடுவாங்க, இன்டர்வியூ போகும்போது மறந்துடுவாங்க. So but it is a very interesting concept. You don't want to say that? I think it's a beautiful concept now because you are taking now the row dimensions, most important row dimension, most important column dimension, plot it, you get that. Any other question?
Sir, now I'm going plot from the பார்க்கும்போது சரி 2 dimension வச்சு மட்டும் தான் இப்படி plot பண்ணி நம்ம பார்த்துருக்கோம். 3 dimensions எடுத்துட்டோம்னா இந்த மாதிரி plot பண்ணியோ இல்ல வேற எப்படி பார்க்க முடியும்? more than 2 போனா
3-dimensional பண்ணலாம். But the interesting part is that's the beauty of this, right? 2-dimensional உங்களுக்கு ஒரு intuition கிடைச்சிரும். See, this is about practice issues. convincing இருக்கு அப்படின்னா போதும். உங்களுக்கு எப்போ கன்வின்ஸ் ஆகலையோ then you are going into more details. கன்வின்ஸ் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா details குறைச்சிக்கும். Yes, you can do 3-dimensional plot. Yes, of course you can do. In fact, you don't have to do 3-dimensional plot. You can the vector path values பார்த்து நீங்க சொல்லலாம். இந்த vector versus this vector versus this vector பாருங்க. இங்க வந்து high negative value, right? And then this is high positive value. Either none of them is this is the next high positive value. This is next high positive value. See, இங்கே கொஞ்சம் dimension perpendicular ஆயிடுது இல்லையா? This is negative, this positive. This is positive and positive. And yet it's also not that strong, right, compared to this one. Okay. And if you look at here, it's low negative value and low negative value here also. The most important dimension, I would say, these are all small values. Okay. These are small values because it is coming in the other dimension. That is what. Let's go to the this is a column. Yeah, row away pop. Let's look at the row coordinates. இது வந்து நிறைய டைமென்ஷன்ஸ் நிறைய வேல்யூஸ் இருக்கனால கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம். பட் இங்க பாருங்க, இதெல்லாம் நெகட்டிவ் வேல்யூஸ். Get it? The first dimension, all are negative values. These are all are positive values. But whatever you have negative values, second dimension பாருங்க, mostly positive value. But this one is tidying because it's mixed value, actually mixed work. We saw that. That's why it is negative is here. And wherever here positive, it becomes positive, here becomes kind of negative, especially when husband is predominantly working in these areas. Okay, so my point is now you have if it is explainable in usually 2-dimension, 3-dimension, 3-dimension pona avasiyam kedai. You want to get the directions first. 2 dimensions both. And if you want more specific values, you are going to use all mathematical, sophisticated, multi-dimensional mathematical calculation you are going to use. That's fine. இது வந்து practice-ல உங்களுக்கு convince பண்ணும் அவ்வளவுதான். Manager convince பண்ணும். இதெல்லாம் கரெக்ட்பா, don't worry, but நம்ம solve confidence சொல்றதுக்கு தான் ஆகும். It makes sense அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும். Okay, good. Any other question? என்ன சத்யா எப்படி இருக்கீங்க சொல்லுங்க. என்னப்பா? Okay, that's all right. That's okay. But I'm saying, is it convincing? Is it is explainable? Is it understandable? Explain பண்ண முடியுமா உங்களால? அதாவது உடனே இவ்வளவு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி ஒத்துக்கிறேன் நான். பட் ஒரு கீ பாயிண்ட்ஸ். இது ஒரு நீங்க வந்து பேக்கேஜ் ரன் பண்ணிட்டு இதெல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு இதெல்லாம் பார்த்தா கொஞ்சம் அப்படியே ஒரு ஸ்கேரியா தான் இருக்குது. இந்த ரோ கோஆர்டினேட், கோசைன் 2, ஆல் தோஸ் திங்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் பார்த்தா ஸ்கேரியா இருக்கு. பட் nothing comes to this. Okay. So any other questions? So I want to take this moment to go. Let's go back to all the things we did in PA1 and PA2, especially PA2. But you can even ask PA1. There must be something that is lingering to you. There is some inconsistency here, or that's what you might feel. As far as I'm concerned, no. But you may feel that way. There's some inconsistency is there. சரியா இல்லையே ஏதோ சரி அப்படி இப்படின்னு ஏதாவது தோணலாம். Anything? Any questions in the whole course PA2? ஒரு நிமிஷம். Okay, I open the mic.
Linear regression பொறுத்தவரை everything is clear, but logistic regression வந்து நம்ம ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணினதுல இருந்து இப்போ logistic regression செப்பரேட்டா நம்ம பார்த்தோம், PCA செப்பரேட், அடுத்து ஃபேக்டர் அனாலிசிஸ், ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன் என்ஜின், கரஸ்பாண்டன்ஸ் அனாலிசிஸ், எல்லாத்தையும் நான் கோரிலேட் பண்ணி when I address a real time situation, இப்ப இதுக்கு நான் என்ன மெத்தட் அப்ளை பண்ணணும்னு இன்ஸ்டன்டா கேட்டா I'm not able to answer. நான் எங்க போகணும் என்ன இது நான் அப்ளை பண்ணி what should I arrive at கேட்டா it's very difficult to give a solution right away. Maybe அதை இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் போய் எல்லாத்தையும் கோரிலேட் பண்ணி will have to understand, okay, இந்த மெத்தட் வந்து it will address this problem, we have another method to address another problem அப்படின்னு வந்து ஒரு கோரிலேட் பண்ணி ஒரு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் வரும். அதுதான் இன்வெஸ்ட் ஆகுது இப்போ.
Okay.
இப்போ ஃபேக்டர் அனாலிசிஸ் நம்ம பார்த்தோம், we went through that theoretical part. இப்போ அதோட practical part வந்து நம்ம பார்க்கல இந்த ஃபேக்டர் அனாலிசிஸ்.
Example நான் கொடுக்கலையா? Okay, we can go over that. Okay, we can go over that example. Okay, we'll come to that. Okay, that's a good point. I will show that example before I go. We split today.
ஏன்னா அதுதான் வந்து hidden பேசிட்டு இருந்தோம். So practically ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் அந்த hidden
I thought I showed you this signal. Let me go back to that one. We will go back one moment, please. I thought in the example and the finance example and the finance finance அந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் வந்து அவ்வளவு புரியல. அன்னைக்கு நீங்க ஒரு தியரி ரன் த்ரூ பண்ணீங்கல்ல, ஈக்குவேஷன் வச்சுட்டு F1 F2 நம்ம பார்க்கறது அதெல்லாம் அதுலயும் இப்போ நம்ம பார்க்குற மாதிரியான எக்ஸாம்பிளோட அப்ளை பண்ணி பார்க்கல. Okay, all right.
Hidden dimension array
this is what that one is, right? If you remember this is what that one is. Loadings எல்லாம் பார்த்து நம்ம பண்ணோம். But let me do one more example. That would be I usually show another example. Let me go to that one. One second. Okay, let us do this one. Case study 2. Okay, case study 1. Okay. All right. So I hope this is not a mathematics. Oh my. Okay, I have some example at the bottom. Okay, here is the example. Okay, there was a study in 1939. So it's called Holzinger and Francis. The Holzinger swine flu data. Okay. there are 26 tests that were conducted to measure generally about a person's abilities, okay, intelligence types. And in that, there are 5 specific factors were administered to 7th grade and 8th grade students. There are a sample of 145 sample students who were used in one school, Grant White School, in the other school, Pasture School, 156 samples. Okay, so the data is captured to, there are 19 tests. 19 tests or 23, let me see. 26 tests, I'm sorry, 26 tests, out of which 19 tests were intended to measure 4 dimensions. They were intentionally meant: spatial ability, verbal ability, speed, and memory. 19 tests were developed with an intention to measure these 4 abilities. They think these 19 tests will help measure those things. Okay, and these are the types of tests. Okay, spatial test na visual perception test, cubes, paper from board, lozenges, okay, whatever that I'm going to explain to you. So for example, this is called visual perception test. So what is the next? I'm pretty sure. Out of this one, which one comes here? The patterns are like this. Then what is this out of this? This is test 1, visual perception test. General information is the following. Okay, in each sentence below you have 4 choices for the last word. Okay, 4 choices for but only one is correct. These are the in each sentence below, that is 1, 2, 3. You have 4 choices for the last word. Let's say shrub. Okay, in this case, which one belongs here? Pumpkins grow on bushes, trees, vines, and shrubs. And out of that, shrubs is correlated with what? Okay, everybody gets it? Yes? Satya, correct? And the graphical the spatial words. This is general information. Tusks. Okay, coral names. Coral comes from reefs, mines, trees, and tusks. Okay, out of that, what is the question we have here? Men see with their ears, nose, eyes, and mouths. This is the example. So coral comes from reefs, mines, trees, and tusks. I think pumpkins grow on bushes, trees, vines, and shrubs. That is I didn't explain it correctly. I'm sorry about that. One is this. One means pumpkins grow on bushes, trees, vines, and shrubs, which is the right word out of these 4.
Vines.
It's vines. Coral comes from reefs, mines, trees, and tusks.
Reefs.
Sugar cane grows mostly in Montana, Texas, Illinois, New York. I don't know. I think it's Texas. Okay, because it's a hot climate. That's how I know. Like that, my point is, we have these tests, and then this is test number 5. Okay, test number 17. That's tests, and I'm just giving you an example here. Okay, here is a list of subjects. Each one has a number. Study the list so that you can remember the number of each object. Okay, after each object, write the number that belongs to it. Okay, so if you have a fast reporting, this is the issue of speed recall. Okay, so for those, how many tests are there? We said
4 tests.
No, we gave 4 as examples. Okay, so these are the tests, and I can calculate. Yeah, 90 or more. 19 tests are here. Okay, and we can find the correlation coefficients among the test scores for those people. Okay, the correlation. This is the correlation matrix. Now, the question is, we want to know, this is where it is a factor analysis. We want to know, we don't know which of the tests contributes to the speed, which of the tests contributes to, what is it called, those 5 factors we talked about. You remember that? Those 5 factors are this one.
Spatial, speed, memory.
Spatial, speed, spatial ability, verbal ability, speed, memory. Okay, 4 dimensions only we are talking about. Okay, not 5. Somewhere I don't know. 5. Okay, we are interested on these 4 dimensions. These tests are supposed to address that. But which one addresses what weight, we don't know. There is nothing we will never know that, but we will only know it by observationally. Okay, so this is a measurement in error type problem. Everybody agrees? Factor analysis is measurement in error type problem. We don't know the hidden variables. The hidden variables are the actual variables. We measure the hidden variable with error with whatever we think as the truth. Everybody gets it? So it's a factor analysis. Everybody gets it? Okay. Using the correlation matrix, I can start with the original data or correlation matrix and solve the problem. What am I supposed to get in the end? I should get to know the factor weights for each of those 19. Yeah.
The previous test we have slide we have listed out like for verbal ability, what are the tests, for memory, what are the tests, that list we have already.
I have explained, I don't have full collection of tests. There are other tests which are not explained here, but we just gave this test 1 means this, test 5 means this, test 17 means this.
Previous slide, sir.
Oh, okay.
This one.
These are there are different speed tests, speed for addition they do a speed addition, they do test something. For coding, they do something. For counting groups of dots, they use it for speed. They think, right? Straight and curved capitals. They use it for speed. For memory, word recognition, they think, right? These are the variables that will explain. Memory, word recognition, number recognition. That's what memory means. Figure recognition, object number figure, figure word. All these things are what we as humans think are important things. But the weights might be different. That's what we want to find out. Okay, 1 second. Okay, that's what we want to find out. Is that problem clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Okay. So we can, you remember, the rotation issues are there about the factor analysis. You can, there is no unique solution. There are different ways you can get, different answers you can get, but depending upon what type of rotation you have. Okay, you can have perpendicular rotation. You don't mind having non-perpendicular rotation, but it will give a different type of interpretation. The point is you have all these options, but the main thing is that you can take this correlation model, correlation coefficients, to reduce the model to fewer dimensions. Again, you are talking about fewer dimensions. Okay, that's where the the commonality comes in. So let me go to the answer here. Look at this one. By the way, finding the number of dimensions is called scree plot. I don't know why it is called scree plot. It's called scree plot. Finding the number of dimensions. Okay, which basically comes down to the eigenvalues or singular values. It is the eigenvalue problem here or singular value problem here. I start with the correlation matrix. Go. Is it an eigenvalue problem or singular value problem here? I start with remember the solution is hidden dimensions in the correlations of the variables.
Eigenvalue.
Hidden values in hidden vector in the original variable, but we find that out only through the correlation matrix. Okay, that is another type of nuance, if you want to say the difference between PC and factor analysis. You are working with the correlation matrix to pull out the hidden dimensions. There you are working with the variance covariance matrix to pull out the new dimensions. So you see this one, there are only 3 dimensions it says is enough to explain. Are you with me, guys? There are only 3 dimensions that matters. The one it stabilizes, you don't include. Or the moment it stabilizes, you stop. Okay. So let's go to the actually here you are. Look at this one. Isn't it beautiful? Look at this one. How they are all separating out. Visual cubes, paper, lozenges. They're all positive here. High positive values here. Addition, code, counting, all positive here. Okay. And general, paragraph, sentence, word DC, word DM, they're all positive here. Nowhere else. High positive values are highly high valued dimensions, right? And you got a few more values here, so few more variables here now because I could not put everything here. Now there is 19 dimensions I have to cover, right? Look at this one. Word, number, or number, figure, or is part of the spatial and memory. Spatial and memory. Oh, by the way, memory is goes with the spatial. Earlier we were thinking it is separate, right? The tests were conducted in that way, separated out. But it turns out that in the performance of the individual, they seem to be same. So I need only 3 dimensions out of these 19 dimensions, whatever. Everybody understands this? Again, we are talking about singular, the eigenvalue decomposition in this case because it's a symmetric correlation matrix. Correctingla, Abby. Okay. How do you feel? Do you see any? So if I can do 4-factor solution also, here this is a 3-factor solution, right? This is a 3-factor solution. I just pull out only 3 factors and then try to figure out the relationships. So let me finish the 4-factor. I go to one more extension 4-factor. It comes out to be like this. Again, these things are highly coded higher. Here nothing happened here because it is coming in the 2nd dimension. Because now memory is also separated out from spatial. If I use only 3, it comes out like that. If I use 4-factor, spatial, memory, verbal, speed is separated out clearly. Okay, look at this one. Wherever these weights are here, nowhere else is high weights. Wherever these weights are here, high, nowhere else is high. Wherever these weights are here, nowhere else is high. So the hidden dimension is pulled out clearly. The hidden dimensions are this. They did 19 tests, but it came out like this. We give names to them. This is the usual practice. In the practice, that's what will happen. These names you give them. You know these tests. You are conducting these tests, but these were names you come up with. Initially, you may also think that this means spatial memory, this and that. But this is confirmatory. In that case, it's also called confirmatory factor analysis. It confirms. If you already correctly classified them, it confirms. If it's not already correctly classified, it's exploratory. It's called exploratory factor analysis. Are you with me? Nariya words sollindrukana. So note down exploratory versus confirmatory. And only it's a scientist's behavioral approach there. Are you with me? Scientist சொல்றான் நான் இதெல்லாம் தான் நினைக்கிறேன் வெர்பலா இருக்கும் இதெல்லாம் தான் ஸ்பேஷல் நினைக்கும் அப்படின்னு நான் சொல்றான். He puts the hypothesis down and then checks it out. That is confirmatory. But எனக்கு ஒண்ணுமே தெரியாதுப்பா இதெல்லாம் இந்த டெஸ்ட் எல்லாம் தூக்கி போட்டு நான் பண்ணி பார்க்கறேன். And then I try to find a word for that. That is exploratory. These are the words of the hidden dimensions. Correctly? These are the words hidden dimensions I find through my thinking. That is exploratory. Here, the confirmatory could be over a period of time we accumulated knowledge, and then we continue to confirm. Okay.
Well, now hidden dimension sir. I have found 4 hidden dimensions from this data. Okay.
Correct. But what is the benefit? You get somebody new, a new person. You find their scores. You weigh in these values. If these values are the weighted value of this vector, spatial vector, weighted value of the spatial vector is low for that person, then he has less spatial ability. but high for the verbal. No, that person has high verbal ability. So this is coming from the population of confirmed tests, verified with well-conducted tests. Now I can use this to predict other people's.
Okay.
Okay? Isn't it cool? I think it's cool. என்ன சார் எல்லாமே உங்களுக்கு கூலா இருக்கு. I don't know. I think there is a pattern to all these things. The pattern here is singular eigenvalue decomposition again. That's why I say it's cool. Just two results, eigenvalue decomposition, singular value decomposition. It just so happened we needed singular value also because data is not symmetric all the time, square and symmetry. And the thinking those lines, then you become an independent person. You can think on your own. You can create your own solutions. You can think new. Okay, that's why I get excited teaching you all this stuff, because when you know the foundations, when you know usually I don't teach people don't spend enough time. But anyway, it's all right. So if you get these things, the foundational ideas, then you feel, oh, okay. புது ப்ராப்ளம் எடுத்துட்டு கூட பண்ணலாம். Now I will go back to your question because you raised it. சார் என்ன சார் 15 மெத்தட் இருக்குது, நான் எந்த இடத்துல எது யூஸ் பண்ண தெரியலன்னு. That's a good problem to create what is called a cheat sheet. Cheat sheet. இந்த ப்ராப்ளத்துக்கு இந்த மெத்தட், இந்த ப்ராப்ளத்துக்கு இந்த மெத்தட் நீங்க ஒரு டேப்லேஷன் போட்டு காமிக்க முடியுமா எனக்கு? Try it out. I will give you later something else.
Problem?
Go back to all the examples we did. Just go back to all the examples we did. அது இல்லாம வேற இப்போ நான் வந்து ஹவுஸ் பிரைஸ் மாடலுக்கு நான் ரிக்ரெஷன் காமிச்சேன். It characterizes the problem. From there you can actually abstract out the general problem. Yes or no? Just use the examples. That's a good start, very good start. So regression problem na left hand side there must be first of all independent variable and a collection of dependent variable, and the dependent variable, collection of independent variable and dependent variable, and the dependent variable has to be continuous. That's why regression. இந்த மாதிரி அது எங்க வந்து ஹவுஸ் பிரைஸ் மாடல் தான் ஹவுஸ் பிரைஸ் மாடல். அப்புறம் கிளாசிபிகேஷன் மாடலுக்கு நான் ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுத்தேன். என்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள்? டைமண்ட் டேட்டா செட் நீங்க போறீங்களா? இல்ல நான் ஏதோ காமிச்சேன். I don't know what did I show? I don't remember now. Sorry about that. Let me go back. Avalon, yes. Avalon, right? You don't have to உடைச்சு பார்க்கணும் அவசியம் கிடையாது. You can figure it out whether it is a good one or not. உடைச்சோம்னா போச்சு, வேல்யூ போச்சு. உடைச்சு எடுத்து போனா யாரும் வாங்க மாட்டாங்க. ஆனா from the producer's point of view, from the manufacturer point of view, you want to know it before you break it, because you can sell it higher, you can discriminate the price. Right? Classification problem. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's beautiful. வேற வேலையில எல்லாமே பியூட்டிஃபுல். அப்படியா? இல்ல, I think it's honestly I feel it's so cool that you don't have to break it and you can figure it out correctly. Right? Okay. So can we take all the examples, just write down. அதை வந்து ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ணி பாருங்க. எழுதிட்டீங்க, ஓகே ஹவுஸ் பிரைஸ் மாடல் தான் ரிக்ரெஷன் போடாச்சு. Now ரிக்ரெஷனுக்கு give me one example. That is called cheat sheet. Cheat sheet. It's a cheating method. Right? It's a cheating or a list வச்சுக்கிறாங்க. எக்ஸாம்பிள் காப்பி அடிக்கிறோம்ல. So that's okay. It's all right. Oh, yeah. All right. So, can we do that? Everybody should do. Independently, everybody should do. So, what is the 3 columns should have it? 3 columns it should have it. Okay. Example used. What was the method used? Example data, method used. a new example where it can be used. These three things, can you fill up for me and show me that? That's an assignment for you. It's a very good question, very important, and these are all the things will make you more confident. Okay, everybody should do this separately, please, and submit it to me. It is going now from now on. I'm going to give you scores. Okay, so I have given you two examples and two assignments also for you. Just a data set. Review the codes and make sure you understand those things, every line in the codes. Okay, point one. And then review the SVD codes. I have given it in the announcement section. I have posted it. Review the SVD codes and make sure you understand everything there. And the purpose, why I gave you this, what does it explain, all those things. You have to have internally, you should internalize those ideas. Are you with me, everybody? Prashant?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
So, is it a good idea? I think it's a good idea. What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Do that. Show it to me. Everybody has to show. And then you have two assignments: SVD and then just a data set, recommendation engine. Codes are there. It's assignment there. Explanation is there. But I want to make sure you understand those things. You are comfortably say, I know, which means you can do a similar problem. Okay. If you I don't know, if you want, we can do that as a lab work also. That's another possibility. But it's up to you. Lab work you don't have to worry about it. I'm just giving you options. Okay. Any other questions? And நான் last time சொன்னேன் உங்களுக்கு கொடுக்குறேன் இன்னும் additional கொடுக்குறேன்னு சொன்னேன் ஞாபகம் இருக்கா ஏதோ கொடுக்குறேன்னு சொன்னேன் அது SVD one of them I remember SVD as a image analysis last class I said something that I will give you SVD image analysis is one of them which I gave you as assignment. இது ரொம்ப வேகமா போகுது அந்த கிளாஸ் anybody? You are able to catch up the speed, right? You are fine. Okay. All right.
Logistic regression or recording பண்ணி கொடுக்கிறேன்னு சொல்லிருந்தீங்க.
Oh, I see. சரி. Recording பண்ணி தரணும். Okay. சரி, I will post something.
அப்புறம் updated logo இன்னைக்குட ரெக்கார்டிங் செஷன்
அது இன்னைக்கு ரெக்கார்டிங் செஷன் போயிட்டு இருக்கு நான் போட்டு தரேன் நான் ஓகே
அது அப்டேட்டட் நோட்ஸ் போட்டு
அப்டேட்டட் நோட்ஸ் அந்த ஒரு ரெஃபரன்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கேன் தான் சொல்றேன் அது இருக்கு அது பண்ணியாச்சு நான் the moment I save it is automatically saved in the same place so you should be able to get it நான் நினைக்கிறேன் பார்க்குறேன் நான் இருக்கணும்
PPT
yeah I will do that
AB scan ஒரு picture of a flower எடுத்துட்டு dimension
அதான் SVD அது போட்டுருக்கேன் நான் அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட்ல போட்டுருக்கேன் கொடுத்துருக்கேன் நான்
okay
அதுல வந்து please listen everybody there is a reference to what is called pansy.jpg it's a flower pansy is a flower okay pansy.jpg you can download it from internet and use it as a input okay everybody.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? So you have a couple of lab sessions that is coming to you on this one. அவரு உங்களுக்கு JK பண்ணலையா லாஜிஸ்டிக் ரிக்ரெஷன் பண்ணலையா உங்களுக்கு
வீக் டேஸ்ல பண்ணினாங்க எனக்கு வீக்கெண்ட் கோர்சஸ் மட்டும் தானே எங்களுக்கு நடக்கல
I see.
அவங்களுக்கு வீக்
அதுதான் ஆப்லோன் பண்ணாரு அவரு
இல்ல சார்
சரி
லேட் ஆயிடுச்சு நம்ம ஹாஃப்வேல ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிட்டோம் கன்ஃபியூஷன் மேட்ரிக்ஸ் வர போயிட்டு கொஞ்சம் தூரத்துல ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிட்டோம் அதுக்கு அடுத்த கிளாஸ்ல நம்ம PA2 ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டோம். இவங்களுக்கு வந்து லேப் கிளாஸ் மண்டே ஜேகே சார் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. சோ அதுக்கு கேட்டதுக்கு தான் நீங்க சரி நான் ஒரு ரெக்கார்டட் செஷன் பண்ணி கொடுக்குறேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்க.
சரி. Okay. All right. Any other question? Anything you feel that or that would be extremely helpful, but it's not happening.
Extremely
helpful, but it is not happening. If it happens, it would be extremely helpful. That you feel it's missing. நீங்க practice பண்ணணும், அது வேற விஷயம். That is extremely helpful. Remember 20 hours நம்ம வந்து teach பண்றோம். Maybe காலேஜ்ல படிச்சீங்கன்னா 20 hours is how many weeks? Every week. ஆனா உங்க ஊர்ல இங்கெல்லாம் வந்து டைம் வெரி வெரி டைம் கான்சியஸ் அதிகம். 1 hour 1 hourக்கு பெனிஃபிட் கொடுத்தாங்க. அங்க வந்து கிளாஸ்லாம் 1 hour வருவாங்க. வீக்லி 3 hour வருவாங்க இல்லையா? 3 hours they will come, 15 weeks they will come, 45 hours they meet, right? 40 hours they will meet in a subject. But we try to do that in half the time, and including lab we give 30 hours. Okay, very close in that sense. Okay, my question is now, is this? So are you able to get the feelings of it? That something that you are holding it now, which you can grow.
Yes, sir. It needs a lot of practice, sir.
You're all great students. Just it's a matter of practice. If you have difficulties, send the questions. You can send it to JK and start from there, or you can post it in the canvas also. I think you can post it. பாருங்க, போஸ்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா, டெஸ்ட் பண்ணி பாருங்க. போஸ்ட் பண்ண முடியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். I can, if I get it, I will answer that. And keep, just this should be one of your commitments in life. That is, you are going to be data science oriented analyst. Oriented. I didn't say data scientist. Okay, I am a data science in some sense. Okay, but for example, Ninga Satya, you are healthcare. But you want to solve problem with data science, using data science as your powerful tool. Not every day health scientist is like that. Okay, not biotechnology. Yeah, so commit to this, very very important. Commit practice, and be in the community. These 3 things will make you shine. CPB. Commit, practice, be in the community. Okay. Anything else? A few labs will be happening for you, and I will record this logistic regression as something I have to do. I told you I will do it. Enjoy the science, enjoy your friendship, your time. Knowledge is very relaxing. Being able to do is your power, and be the master of what you want to do. Everybody is attending my ML class or not? Who is not attending ML class in this class? Okay, anybody else? 2 பேர். ஐயோ 3 பேர் ML கிடையாதா? No. It's not a good idea. நீ Institute of Analytics படிச்சு ML படிக்கலன்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? I'm not selling it here. Believe me, if you want to be a strong master of what you are, you need to do ML. I'm absolutely not selling it. Okay, but I'm advising you. Predictive analytics தெரியும்னாக்கா 2 சப்ஜெக்ட் தெரியும் அப்படின்னா it's not. ML is very important part. If you cannot do, I don't know, you may not do for some reason, I don't know what it is. But if you cannot do that, if you cannot do, that's a different issue. But if you are making intelligent choices of only PA1, PA2, it could be, that decision could be improved. Okay, so I'll miss you guys. Next two class lab on the he is going to do. I won't be speaking with you, but I definitely miss my students, and so Prashant, Prashant, by mistake. இங்க இருக்காரா பின்னாடி உட்கார்ந்துருக்காரா எங்கப்பா முன்னாடி வாங்க. அப்படியா கணக்கு சரி. All right. You know, you are not going to do again these courses. You know, why would you do? You know, it's a waste of time. Continuous பண்ணா முடிச்சுட்டு I'm kind of surprised that, you know, யாரு உங்களுக்கு ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ணா இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணா போதும்ட்டு?
யாரு ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ணது தெரிஞ்சா வந்து உள்ள வந்தா தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறோம்.
இல்ல உள்ள வந்துட்டு பார்க்கலாம் அப்புறம் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சீங்களா? இல்ல I want to know how you think. அதுக்காக கேக்குறேன்.
இல்ல இப்பவே வந்து இது ரிலேட்டடா ஜாப்ல அப்ளை பண்ண முடியுமா, ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி இருக்கானே தெரியல. just trying அந்த மாதிரி.
எங்க ரெக்வெஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகுது?
But I tell you one thing, if you have diploma in data science and if you commit to work sincerely, your salary will double, believe me. And of course you may not find job in Chennai, that's a different issue. You may have to go outside of Chennai, but it will double your salary. Why? You got to ask that kind of question. People get double the salary. If you get out of Chennai, you will definitely get double the salary. Chennai is just suppressed salary level compared to other, you know, like Pune, like Mumbai and Bangalore, compared to Mumbai, especially Mumbai and Delhi. Okay, so do well. I don't know what else to say. You know, take a good care of yourself, folks. Enjoy your learnings. And hopefully I'll see you around. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions, you can send me. That's fine. Satya, I would definitely recommend ML and AI course for you. எல்லாருமே ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ணுவேன், பட் நான் ஏதாவது ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ண போய் வேற வேலை இல்லை. I take என்னன்னு சொல்றது, I take privilege-ஆ இல்லை, I don't know. I have privilege to tell you, வேற ஒன்றும் இல்லை. I don't mind if you rest of you allow me, I'll take the privilege to tell you others also. Take the course. It's a good idea.
சரி நான் என்ன ஃபில் பண்றேன் அப்போ கேக்குதா?
அன்மியூட் பண்ணியாச்சு.
ஓகே.
என்னது?
கேக்குதா? ஓகே. சோ நான் என்ன கத்துக்கிட்டேன்னா, சோ இப்போ நான் கத்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கிற டேர்ம்ஸ் எல்லாமே நியூவா இருக்கு எனக்கு இப்போ. சோ நான் ஒன்ஸ் அத போயிட்டு கோ த்ரூ பண்ணிட்டு ஒரு பிராக்டிஸ் நான் பண்ணிட்டேன்னா கண்டிப்பா
that is fine, you can do, but the point is I think you don't, you know, it seems like there is a long term specific plan is missing, and because the net effect is that, you know, the intensity of commitment is, you know, less. You know, we are at a very fortunate time in the history that even human evolution, machine learning and AI is the future. நீங்க predictive analytics தெரியும்ன்றதை விட machine learning and AI எனக்கு தெரியும்னீங்கன்னா என்னமோ they will rank you higher. That's how society works. But machine learning வந்து சும்மா போய் machine learning பண்ண முடியாது. நீங்க இது predictive analytics தெரிஞ்சாதான் machine learning பண்ண முடியும். Okay, so you have got some foundations, very strong foundations you got on PA1, PA2. Now you can do machine learning. You can appreciate and you can apply and all those things.
இப்போ மிஷின் லேர்னிங் பண்ணோம்னா இப்ப இவங்க வந்து ஹடூப் இன்னும் நிறைய வேற என்னென்னவோ படிச்சாங்க, அதெல்லாம் தேவையா? ஏன்னா அது வந்து ரொம்ப டெக்னிக்கலா போகும் தான் நான் இனிஷியலா யோசிச்சு ஆர் ப்ரெடிக்டிவோட நினைச்சிருந்தாங்க நான் யோசிச்சது. ஏன்னா ஹடூப் ஸ்பார்க் எல்லாம் போனா
அது வேற, அது வந்து அப்ளிகேஷன் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம். அது that is not machine learning, that is application platform. Application platform is different from the machine learning core.
Okay.
Okay. Hadoop எல்லாம் வந்து application platform. It's like a Python platform. யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். நம்ம Python cloud platform யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். Hadoop தான் யூஸ் பண்ண கிடையாது. Okay. Cloudல you can use Hadoop. Cloud.
Python kandipa theriyuma
it's very important. You can survive with R, but I am trying to move in the direction of teaching machine learning more and more, not today, more and more using Python. See, that way I'm kind of mixing things, R with the PA1, PA2, Python with machine learning. Okay, thanks a lot.
The idea to start with in the top அது வந்து வீக்கெண்ட் கோர்ஸ்ங்கிறதுக்காக இப்படி நான் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டேன். வீக் டேஸ்ல வந்து டைம் கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ட்னாலே
நான் டீச் பண்றதெல்லாம் only it will be weekend. Like learning will be only weekend in that sense. They will get combined with those two groups. They will have to be combined. And ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ரெண்டு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் இருக்கும் இல்லைன்னா I will have to find out. I don't know.
Sir, ML we can learn using R, right? Or is it necessary Python?
You can, but I want to bring in the Python also, because it is such an important tool. And also if you have volume, Python handles better than R. Volume of data, R is very competitive. Let me put it this way: there are some issues with R, but R is very competitive. But Python also has some issues because statisticians have created lots of packages than you can imagine that are available in Python. வேற வழி இல்லாம பைத்தான்ல ஓடி போய் பண்ணுவாங்க இல்லையா? இது அப்படி கிடையாது. ஏன்னா statistician struggles are all taken care in R. So யாரோட ஸ்ட்ரகிள் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏன்னா ரெண்டுமே இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் தான். Okay, so if you give me the authority to tell you, I'll say do machine learning also. Now, because next time you utkand panna maateenga, you already mudichadu better.
Machine learning enna padikkum?
Machine learning la வந்து I will show you.
But the basics of Python
இல்ல நீங்க உங்களுக்கு அட்வைசிங் மென்டாரிங் சரியில்லைன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா correct, that is tough because we all need mentors. Don't think that I don't need mentor. I need a mentor for myself on something. ஒண்ணும் இல்லப்பா, அதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. நீங்க எனக்கு நீங்க போய், and it's not about you, I'm saying in general, the level of sincerity you have when you reach you people. Sometimes you may not reach the right person, okay, but the way you seek out information, the level of the depth of sincerity will get you the right person to get you help you. When the time comes, the teacher appears. That's because you are searching. The teacher is not searching, the student is searching. So நீங்க உங்களுக்கு என்ன வேணும்ன்றது clarity இருந்ததுன்னா it will happen, whatever it is. என்னாச்சு?
நீங்களே கிளாரிட்டியா சொல்லுங்க சார்.
இல்ல என்ன வேணும்னு கேட்டீங்கல்ல, என்ன வேணும்ங்கற கிளாரிட்டி தான் கரெக்ட்டா இல்லங்கிறது தான் பிரச்சனை.
That's correct. It's a problem always, because once you have clarity எல்லாம் வந்துரும். ஆனா வராது. நீங்க அந்த क्वेश्चन டெய்லி அதே திங்க் பண்ணீங்கன்னு வெச்சுங்க, people will come, process will come, resources will come.
நான் என்ன யோசிச்சேன்னா, இப்ப எனக்கு close to 6 years plus 2 years masters 8 years of experience இருக்கு. இப்ப நான் கம்ப்ளீட்டா டொமைன் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணி ஒரு ஃப்ரெஷரா போக விரும்பல. என்னோட இருக்கிற எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸோட மர்ஜ் பண்ணி எடுத்து என்ன பண்ண முடியுங்கிறது யோசிச்சுதான் நான் வந்தேன். அதுதான் அதை எப்படி எடுத்துட்டு போறதுங்கிறது எனக்கு கிளாரிட்டி இல்லை.
இல்ல கரெக்ட், நீங்க சொன்னதெல்லாம் கரெக்ட். டோன்ட் you spend. What is your postgraduate in what?
Aerospace engineering.
Aerospace engineering postgraduate. Undergraduate is general engineering. Yeah? Aeronautics. Okay. Now, the point is, you are seeking some new tools, of course, to strengthen your current job, current talent. Either you can be a pure data scientist, actually. If I'm pure data scientist, actually, I can only be a teacher. But if I go to an area, but I am very blessed, that's a different issue. Okay, I can do multiple areas like finance, healthcare, experience. I have struggled enough. எதையுமே விட முடியாம இருக்குது, என்ன பண்றேன்? நீங்களும் ஒரு எடுத்துக்கணும். அவர் பாரு பயோடெக்னாலஜி இருக்காரு. ஓகே, நம்ம சத்யா பயோடெக்னாலஜி கரெக்டுங்களா? நான் சொன்னது பயோடெக்னாலஜி. ஸோ பயோடெக்னாலஜில டேட்டா சயின்ஸை எப்படி யூஸ் பண்ணி நான் வந்து ஐ கேன் பி அ டிஸ்டிங்டிவ் பர்சன் இந்த ஜாப் மார்க்கெட் அப்படின்றத அவர் திங்க் பண்ணார். நீங்களும் அப்படிதான் திங்க் பண்ணணும் இல்லையா? உங்களுக்கு என்ன ஏரியா பிரசாந்த்?
ஈஸி எலக்ட்ரானிக்ஸ் கம்யூனிகேஷன்.
Electronics communications. Does it mean, for example, security?
No, sir. Telecom.
Oh, telecom, electronic communication, telecom, and what about other media? Telecom da. Okay, fine. Okay, telecom da. Now telecom video is mixed already. Nowadays, telecom video, without the video, you cannot talk about the new world of telecom at all. Okay, so my point is, in telecom, how can you leverage data science to be a distinctive person? That's what I would imagine you are thinking. Okay, so that is clear. Everybody should be only thinking about that. They have the sisters have a different way of thinking because they don't know yet what to specialize. Now, nowhere, we are talking about becoming a pure data scientist. Nowhere, we don't want that. In our situation, what to do? We want everybody.
Screen figure eight.
Yeah, okay. So, the Hadoop, Scala, அதெல்லாம் வந்து வேற issue. அது வந்து programming paradigm, platform. Hadoop is ஒரு structure. And the structure they use பண்ணி தான் solve பண்ணணும் கிடையாது. In fact, you don't need to. But it has become popular for under some conditions. So we want to give that as an opportunity, because when somebody is getting trained as a diploma in data science, these are all diploma people. Am I right? Sisters are diplomas. When they get a diploma, they need to have certain exposures in certain areas. That includes Hadoop and Scala also. That's a different programming language again, third programming language. Okay? So my point is, but machine learning and AI is a need of the future. நீங்க உங்களுக்கு ஏரோநாட்டிக்கல் இன்ஜினியரிங்கோ, பயோடெக்னாலஜியோ, டெலிகாமோ, நீங்க மிஷின் லேர்னிங், ஏஐ எக்ஸ்போஸ் ஆகாம எனக்கு தெரியும், ப்ரெடிக்டிவ் அனாலிட்டிக்ஸ் தெரியும்னாக்கா ஒரு லெவல் கம்மி தான். People will value highly if you say you have machine learning and AI topics. நம்ம நிறைய AI டாபிக்ஸ்லாம் பண்ண மாட்டோம், 2 டாபிக்ஸ் பண்ணுவோம் தான். பட் எல்லாத்தையுமே இப்போ ஏஐன்னு சொல்றாங்க. நான் சொல்றேன், லீனியர் ரிக்ரெஷன் கூட they call it as AI. Okay, so these are all hype issues. Okay, நம்ம அங்கெல்லாம் போக வேண்டாம். My point is, if you claim, I wish everybody can claim that you all have diploma. Diploma is a different category. It is a different power. So sometimes you have to know some additional subjects. You may not use it, but it makes you think correctly, differently and correctly. எங்க விட்டாலும் காட்டுல எங்க விட்டாலும் வந்துருவீங்க. நீங்க இந்த மாதிரி காட்டுல மட்டும் விட்டா நான் வருவேன்னு சொன்னா கஷ்டம். மேக்கிங் சென்ஸ் சார்? இந்த காட்டுல வந்து புஷஸ் ஒரு 3 அடிக்கு மேல இருக்கக்கூடாது, நான் எப்படியாவது தப்பிச்சு ஓடி வந்துருவேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அது வேற விஷயம். நீ எங்க வேணாலும் விட்டு நான் எப்படியா வந்து தப்பிச்சிருவேன், அது வேற விஷயம். That's a different talent. But data science வந்து consider that as you are stuck in a forest and your job is to get out of it. Okay, then diploma is very important. Please don't think that I'm selling, because it's a kind of mentoring. Okay, I talk to my students very freely. Whoever is interested in speaking with me, I talk to them. Okay, And from that point of view, I'm telling all these things.
Hadoop illama machine learning, Hadoop and the MongoDB அதெல்லாம் இல்லாம machine learning மட்டும் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியுமா?
Oh yes.
Okay.
MongoDB வரணும்னா உங்களுக்கு வந்து nowadays unstructured data is coming. That is, text data எப்படி நீங்க அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவீங்க? அதுதான் அனலைஸ் பண்றது மட்டும் அது எப்படி மேனேஜ் பண்ணுவீங்க டேட்டாபேஸ்ல? அன்ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்டா டேட்டா வருது, இமேஜஸ், வாய்ஸ் அண்ட் டெக்ஸ்ட் எல்லாம் வருது, எப்படி மேனேஜ்? நீங்க RDBMS கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்க. ரிலேஷனல் டேட்டாபேஸ் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் இஸ் நாட் அபவுட் அன்ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ட் டேட்டா. So we have to teach MongoDB or something similar to that, something called Postgres அப்படின்னு ஒன்று இருக்குது. அது மாதிரி ஏதாவது நாங்கள் டீச் பண்ணணும். அதனால தான் அதை எடுத்துட்டு வரோம். So it's a very tightly packed courses தான். அப்போ கூட நிறைய இருக்குது, என்னென்னமோ சப்ஜெக்ட்ஸ்லாம் இருக்கு. எங்க டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல you won't believe. There are so many different subjects in my department. எல்லாத்தையும் கொடுக்க முடியாது, ஏன்னா then it's difficult. அப்புறம் we are not that big also, we don't want to be doing too many courses also. எங்க யூனிவர்சிட்டியில 2000 பேர் படிக்கிறாங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் டேட்டா சயின்ஸ். அவங்களுக்கு வெரைட்டி வேணும், for various reasons people come. So MongoDB எல்லாம் தேவையில்லை உங்களுக்கு. அதான் சொல்றேன், அது பர்பஸ் வேற. அது it is to how to manage unstructured data along with structured data. But in your Oracle, traditional Oracle, for example, I'm just saying as an example, traditional Oracle is great RDBMS, relational database management system. Structure அழகா table போட்டுருவோம், rectangular table போட்டா தான் வேலை செய்வாங்கலாம். புரிஞ்சுதா சொன்னது? So you don't need it. It's the machine. நான் எதுவுமே பேச மாட்டேன், நான் அடுப்புலாம் எதுவும் பேச மாட்டேன். When I teach machine learning, I won't talk to this. I'll continue to talk about how to create algorithms. This is all how to create algorithms, whatever I talk. PA1, PA2 is all about algorithms.
Sir, ML and algorithms.
Oh yeah, right. You answered me, right? One moment. Open. So one thing we teach is what is called ரொம்ப important by the tree, decision tree, okay, boosting methods, support vector machine. Are you able to see this one?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Neural networks, deep learning TensorFlow platform, deep learning text analytics, reinforcement learning. This method I won't teach, it's a new method, but we don't need that, okay. We don't need this one. New method. Some people are questioning this, so it's not ready for serving. Deep learning for network of IoT sensors. Okay, so these are the things I'll be teaching. Let's call it as this way: decision trees, boosting methods, support vector machine, neural networks, deep learning, and reinforcement learning.
இது எல்லாமே ஒவ்வொரு அல்காரிதமா சார்?
என்னப்பா?
இது எல்லாமே ஒவ்வொரு அல்காரிதமா?
ஒவ்வொரு type of algorithm, of course. One broad type of algorithm. Neural network is fundamental to everything. All the deep learning are then a part of it. So this is the foundation, and what is called multi-layer perceptron. What is called multi-layer perceptron. Okay, fully connected network, multi-layer perceptron. இதுக்கப்புறம் வரதெல்லாம் very very different characteristic. This is where you do the image analysis, text analytics, image analysis, all those things you will do in these two. And then reinforcement learning is how can we use rewards for the machine to make right decision, and then continuously it changes its based on the rewards. The rewards directs it in the right direction. Rewards mechanism that we introduce in the algorithm directs the machine in the right direction, however complex it is, and then how the machine can use that to reach the answer. That is reinforcement learning. So there are some things, I think I'll have to stop with this one. I'll have to take this out for now. But I put it there because I'm still working on. I continuously revise my curriculum, so that's why. So I do this, yeah.
Scheduled hours எவ்வளவு சார் இப்போ எம்எல்க்கு?
என்னப்பா schedule தெரியல எனக்கு. இப்போ இவங்க they will be coming into the ML. எப்போ சொன்னாங்க தெரியுமா உங்களுக்கு ML பத்தி? இன்னும் சொல்லலையா? Okay. So I have a feeling, other students will have to be combined, see, because different students join at different times, there are so many other things, So it will be coming soon. Yeah, it will be coming soon. I don't know. Because, we all work, trying to adjust everybody's, the institute, plan, students, faculty, everything has to come together. But we usually we are good. No, that's not a concern at all. It happens. We still are pretty good, in my opinion. The quality and the quantity of material that we deliver to the students in a short time. Still, it is short time. It's 6 months. You will be, in your own 3
months out, sir.
3 months are there. I think, technically speaking, in 3 months they will be getting diploma. 6 months. Nowhere else gives this depth in 6 months. As far as I know. So, despite that, there are different things that need to come together, and that's where our dean is, very exceptional now. She manages all this, every students, faculty, program management, and also curriculum, all these things. So I really wish, because one day it is going to play out in your job. I tell you today, in your job, whatever your specialization is, you have a diploma in data science. And all the people who got phenomenal jobs out of the institute, and then they'll get a job. And we are very happy about that. We give them some opportunity to work a few months, and we get good students. Very nice. We are very happy. And then after the few, maybe 1 year of work, or usually 1 year of work on an average, right? They get placed very well. I heard yesterday. I heard there is 75,000 jobs are available, which they don't have people, data scientists. And I'm pretty sure, Aruna, in your case, because you are talking about aeronautics engineering, how many people will have this kind of training with aeronautics? Not many. I can assure you, probably 10. I don't know. I may be wrong, but tell me whether it is more than 10. இருக்காது. ஏன்னா இப்போ சயின்ஸே நியூ, டேட்டா சயின்ஸ் நம்ம எடுத்துன்னு வர்றது, இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பேக்கேஜ் எடுத்துன்னு வர்றது நியூ. அவங்களுக்கு உங்களை போல இருக்கவங்களுக்கு டைம் கிடைக்கணும். போய் ஒரு ரெகுலர் இன்ஸ்டியூட்ல போய் ஒரு 1 year 2 years அங்க இந்த மாதிரி டீச் பண்ணணும். இந்த டாபிக்ஸ் எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு டீச் பண்ணணும். ஏன்னா சம்டைம்ஸ் they don't do. I know how லீபா does it, for example. லீபால இதெல்லாம் டீச் பண்ணுவாங்க, நாங்கள் டீச் பண்ணுவோம். But they call it as business intelligence, diploma in business intelligence, right? But the point is, உங்களுக்கு இதெல்லாம் எல்லாமே சேர்ந்து வர்றது ரொம்ப rare. Very rare. Okay, so because of that, you will be a unique person. Dear guys. Okay, so I mean, it's my view. Whatever it fits, you do. But anything you do earlier is better than good things. If you do earlier, is better than doing it later. And the more you grow into your age and other things, there will be other restrictions that will be coming. I don't have to even list them. You all know what I mean. Yes. So do well. I'll definitely miss you guys. The left side, right side, I'll see you in mission learning. Okay. If I don't teach you one more class or anything, I don't think so. Most likely JK will come. Okay. But if you have any question, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You are like my children. Everybody, like, you should feel very nice, comfortable coming to me. I will try. If not, so don't hesitate. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, sir.
Meet you soon, sir.
Oh yeah. Bye bye.